Welcome. This is Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
Only on A2DRadio.com. We are live from the BMW Atlantic City studios. Every Wednesday night we are brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. Or our certified public accountant. Make them your certified public accountant. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. Tom Arnone, Michael Mataraki, Nightman Dan, Sean Redden in the house, talking a lot of Eagles. It's dissecting. We're a bunch of doctors in here, and we're going to dissect the Eagles a lot tonight. We're going to get in previewing Eagles-Bengals. We'll get into that later on in the show. But the crux of the show is going to be dissecting who's to blame, what's the problem. We're frustrated as hell.
What the hell happened Monday night?
We don't want our season to be over, and it essentially is. So a lot to talk about. Our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Which aspect of the Eagles' loss to the Packers was most frustrating? Lack of running game, coaching strategy, no pass rush, poor secondary play. And I'm going to add one into our poll question.
Do it up.
That sniveling, penny-pinching piece of shit Howie Roseman has just been added in to this freaking poll question because he is not running. That son of a bitch tonight is not going to run from this. Jeffrey Lurie is not going to run from it. There's no more running up top. Great organizations, the ones that succeed, start up top, and it's time to start looking through and dissecting. We're going to go back on the last 8 years of the draft out of Howie Roseman. We're going to look at that later on in the show. We'll get into a little free agency. How sickening is that, boys? That we're actually going to bring that.
After 11 weeks, we're talking free agency.
Etching shit up tonight is going to be disgusting, but we plan on having a good time with you tonight. Chime in. Let us know your feelings on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Chime in.
Commiserate with us.
Yeah, we'll comment. We'll air your laundry tonight. Your dirty laundry, the things that you need to get off your chest. We're here. We're here for the people. We're here to crush this fucking organization from top. The guy who's doing the floors of the Sixers game. We're going up and down tonight, and we're going to crush everything. Look at it. We can't even get a basketball game off. Sam Hickey's crying at the Wells Fargo tonight. I mean, we're becoming the city of losers. I'm tired of watching a goddamn hockey game trying to get excited. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of trying to get excited over goddamn hockey. Damn it.
I don't know that.
Sorry, that's my
hockey game last night was pretty exciting.
It was exciting, but I'm tired of it. It's 4 out of my sports. Fourth, okay? I need 1, 2, and 3 to start playing well because I'm a man. I'm almost 40. 6 years away. I need them playing better. Christ, I'm so upset. And if people are going to attack me because I want to rip some of the talent on this roster. Because I said it was a talented roster. It was a top 10 talented roster in the league. Because guess what? The defense has let us down. So the wide receiving core's let us down. So there are things that I'm not wavering on the talent of this roster. I'm wavering on who put it all together. The design of this roster. Letting guys go. Trading guys off. Not seeing major holes on your roster, Sean, Dan, Mike, that we all talked about earlier on in the season in training camp. Some of the holes that we were worried about, right? Never addressed. Lane Johnson, like Mike talked about to start the show before we started the show. You know, yeah, we're going to blame Lane Johnson tonight. He's added on the poll question as well. Let the freaking list go on the poll question. The list goes on. You want to add somebody? Add him in or root him in. Because we'll talk about him.
I'm going to take a page out of the Milli Vanilli book and blame it on the Lane.
I've never started a show this
You're
upset
hot.
Or passionate.
You are hot.
Because I'm freaking sick and tired of losing, and I'm sick and tired of a football team over the last 8 years with that sniveling piece of shit running the organization, has not won a goddamn playoff game, and has been the one. So when are we going to stop firing coaches, stop firing everybody else beneath us, and start looking ourselves in the mirror, Howie Roseman, and say, am I doing a good enough job for this organization? And whatever dirty pictures you have of Jeffrey Lurie's wife, all right?
Did you just say I got to do a better job?
Time to come out.
I got to do a better job. Time's yours.
Yeah, time is yours, boys. But right into our poll question, you know, which part of it, what aspect of the game in this loss was the most frustrating? And you guys can add whatever ones you in, like we talked about. If there's something else that frustrates you, go ahead. Like we're going to talk about Nelson Aguilar. We're going to talk about him tonight. I'm sorry I keep going on and on, but there's so much that we're dissecting tonight that I don't think you're going to get anywhere else. But whoever wants to start the party off, go ahead. I feel like I'm having a semi-fucking heart attack right now. That's how upset I am. Time's yours.
Sean, go ahead, bro.
And I want Andy back.
We'll go right around the room.
All right. The most disappointing aspect of that game Monday night, got to be the defense.
Or the fact that you got kicked out of the game.
That is true. I didn't even get to see the end.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't miss much.
It's not necessarily
You
a bad
missed,
thing.
what, Mike, 10 minutes time possession?
That's what I said.
Yeah, fourth quarter time of possession, Packers 10:30, Eagles 4:30.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
But the defense didn't show up. That's the one thing that we could lock in stone all year was that the defense was going to show up at home. I had it as a 2-touchdown win, walk-away win for the Eagles, get the momentum going. Who the hell's Aaron Rodgers? I was ripping Olivia Munn the whole night in the stands.
Everybody.
You know, I come surrounded by Packers fans. It was pissed me off the whole night. But the defense didn't show up. More importantly, the defensive line. They've gotten 6 sacks in their last 5 games, or 5 sacks in their last 6 games, and they had double digits in their first 6.
Preach, brother.
What the hell
Preach.
changed?
Preach.
What changed?
Preach. You know what? Trends change. And this is a defense that has trended like this for how long?
Yeah.
With a lot of the same core players, right, Sean? Think about it. When but listen, Billy Davis and the whole Chip Kelly thing, we know it wasn't going to work, okay? We can wrap our head around that. But we put all the blame on 2 guys, and we left out a lot of players because this isn't the first season. What did we talk about weeks ago, Mike? Remember? We're going to be curious to see how this defense plays after the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Well, we found out.
Right, but here's the thing.
We found out.
And I don't want to kill Jim Schwartz because I like him as a defensive
I do.
coordinator. Well, you can do that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it's him.
Add Jim on the West.
Hey, Jim, you just made the list. But look at what happened the last time we ran a wide 9 defense on this team. And I understand it was different talent and it was a different coordinator, but the exact same thing happened when we had the wide 9. I mean, you came out of the gates early in the season like gangbusters, but when you're only rushing 4 guys and your splits are horrible and you're getting gashed by running games a lot, which, thankfully this year the Eagles are not. But for whatever reason, come mid-season, other teams start figuring out how to beat the wide 9, and if you don't adjust, you wind up getting beat. I mean, the reason that I set up the picture the way I did for our thumbnail for the show tonight, and for everybody listening, check out our social media posts, I wanted to illustrate the 3.5 freaking foot passing lane that Aaron Rodgers had between Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. And neither of them had their hands up. Mm-hmm. So that should tell you a little something right there. I mean, so yeah, I mean, we could put Jim on the list, but I mean, Sean, I didn't mean to
you're good.
jump
Go
in on
ahead.
your point there, but yeah, defense got to be a big part of it.
Yeah, I got to blame a couple people. Well, I mean, just seeing Aaron Rodgers to start the game, he just had that smile on his face. It just gave me like a
I smiled too when you're looking at Nolan Carroll and Leodis McKelvin on the other side.
And you know what his record is against Jim Schwartz? And it's 7-1.
It's like a lot to nothing.
Yeah, he got flat out. Jim Schwartz got outclassed again. They're hitting these short passes. The corners aren't coming up, pressing the wide receivers, giving the defensive line no time. And when the defense had opportunities to get into the throwing lanes, their heads are down and so are their hands.
Yeah. I mean, let's.
I gotta rip the coach and I gotta rip the players too because, like Tom said, it's the talent on there too. You can't just say it's all the coaching. This team has been so streaky and they're just so frustrating to watch.
No, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing. Let's not sell the guy short. Aaron Rodgers is future Hall of Fame.
Yes.
He's not Blake Bortles on the other side of the line. But to your point, Dan, it's not like they have a running game where you're going to be worried about if we go tee off on this guy, they're going to run by us.
Yeah.
Maybe on the outside, but they're running by you on the outside anyway.
Right.
Was talking to Tom before the show, and I mean, you guys know that I'm kind of like a fantasy junkie, and one of the interesting stats that I heard this week was the Eagles' defense, if you look at it from a fantasy perspective, they are the 5th best team in the NFL against the run, the 2nd best team in the NFL against tight ends, and the 20th team in the NFL against wide receivers. So they're getting beat on the outside, and the reason they're getting beat on the outside is because the pass rush has fallen off, and they got injuries at corner, and they're not filling in.
Yeah. I understand that Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Fame quarterback, but his team, the Green Bay Packers, were 4-6.
Oh, they
and
pretty
that
much
was an
sucked.
opportunity to stomp them out.
No, you're right.
Okay, that was the
That was a
that was
bad loss. Aaron Rodgers or not, it was a bad loss.
It was. It was the opportunity to put your foot on their throat and just twist it and destroy them. You know, then it would have destroyed.
A little violent over here
It would have
tonight.
destroyed their season. It would have, and it would have put us. It would have launched us, and who knows what could have happened after that.
And
But
I was super confident coming into this
Same.
game. I thought it was a 2-touchdown win. I had them running the table. I said it on air last week. I said I don't think they lose another game the rest of the regular season. And right now, I'm questioning everything because I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. Given, I think they have a shot. But then again, I said they had a shot last week. Like, you never know with this team. But I watched a guy named Devontae Adams shit all over the Eagles secondary on Monday night. And then I'm looking down the rest of our schedule. We got guys like Deshaun Jackson, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard probably better than Devontae Adams. You got Dez Bryant. Like,
Okay. Well,
That's
that's where I'm going to jump in because that's full circle to who's to blame here. That's full circle to your GM and this organization to not fill these holes appropriately. That's letting Eric Rowe.
I was just going to say, I feel an Eric Rowe rant coming
for
on.
nothing.
I said it too.
I'm not crowning Rowe here, but you traded him for nothing. One corner goes down like Ron Brooks, like Mike said earlier. Now you're in a lot of trouble because who's going to be who's covering your slot? Now you're moving Malcolm Jenkins to cover the slot. I saw Rodney McLeod covering the slot the other night. You can't do that. You're not going to win that way, Dan. Not against the likes of the Packers and good football teams or good quarterbacks because they're going to pick them areas apart. And that's what happened Monday night. And how he never addressed it the right way. And, you know, a guy like Leotis McKelvin. Well, we know Leotis. He's a decent football player, but he's always banged up. Okay? Your best corner is a 7th-round draft pick this year as a rookie.
And he's probably a 2 or a 3, McKelvin. He's probably a 2 or a 3.
Yeah. Nolan Carroll, okay. He's a gym rat. We get that. Nobody works harder.
He's okay.
He's
a
okay.
slot corner.
Nobody works harder than Nelson Aguilar either, apparently.
Okay, but Eric Rowe's not a guy that you let go and you don't replace with offensive line help.
I agree.
Listen, and then listen. Okay, maybe DeMarco Murray had to go, but why? Let me ask you why he had to go. Because there's new regime came in. There's new coaches. There's a system that fits him. So why did he have to go, Howie? Because he wasn't your fucking guy. This is where GMs who think that their shit doesn't stink, that they want to get rid of everybody else's. Right?
Yep.
Well, that's not my guy. Look at what he did in the offseason, guys. The proof's there.
It was the
proof's there.
The purge of Chip Kelly. That's
This is what
it was.
Brian Colangelo hasn't done, which I respect so far out of Brian Colangelo and the Sixers. This is what Howie Roseman did the opposite of. Kiko Alonso, Byron Maxwell, gone. DeMarco Murray, gone. Who got power last year? Chip Kelly. Who brought them 3 guys in? Chip Kelly.
Well, why does he keep getting power?
Who, Howie?
Well,
Yeah.
I think
why
we
does
know
he
that.
keep coming back?
I
think we know that.
think Jeffrey Lurie killed somebody about 5 years
Well, his
ago.
wife sure as hell
and
did.
he's seen it.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I think Howie was the one that flew to Thailand and brought Jeff's wife back or something like that.
Oh, he brought her back all right.
I don't know.
all the way back.
Uh-huh.
Here's the
But do you
thing,
understand
though.
what I'm saying, guys?
Right, but I
Look
mean-
at that. That's when you fall into that trap, and I want you guys to go around and comment on that specific part of this. When you fall into the trap that it's got to be your guys and it can't be anybody else's, you're never going to succeed at that level.
Well, it's a problem.
Right? It's who fits your systems. It's not who's your guy and who's not your guy.
Well, it's that, but it's also a lack of depth. Like when you look at it and you figure out that, I mean, we had Mark Eckel on before the season, and we asked him about all these offensive linemen that the Eagles drafted. And he sat there and he told us the offensive line needed to stay healthy because every one of these guys had potential, but they were all projects. And now we got an offensive line where 3 out of the 5 guys are projects.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where, I mean, I'm going to come back to it. I blame Lane. And I know that's a generalization, but it's
fair.
it's kind of a
he's an idiot.
But it's a microcosm for the whole thing because
You hurt your football team.
You look at it, you lose Lane Johnson on the offensive side of the ball, Ron Brooks on the defensive side of the ball, and everybody's saying who's Ron Brooks? Ron Brooks was the glue. He was the glue.
Yeah, I agree.
And they have been absolutely screwed since Brooks got hurt and Lane Johnson's suspension started.
Defense was good enough in that situation, but one hole like that, to your point, one hole can ruin every scheme you're running with. Losing, And especially that position on the football field, the slot guy is the most
Yeah,
important
because
corner
now
you have.
you're running Malcolm Jenkins up to cover
Yeah.
the slot.
Now your
you got
safeties get hurt.
You got
Yep.
Jalen Watkins at safety.
Who's fine.
Now, granted, Jalen Watkins has actually kind of impressed me a little bit this year, but he shouldn't be on the field.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not over a potential Pro Bowl safety.
Not when he's jumping over Green Bay's fullback in the end zone too.
Well, I mean, Dan, you got two potential Pro Bowl safeties back there. Let them roam and do what they do.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I'm saying? Let them do that.
think
But when
that's
you're in the
kinda-
game, give an opportunity to make a play, make a play.
But that's kind
at
of
least show some heart.
That's kind of a coaching thing too, though. I think it would be better if they left Jenkins and McLeod alone. And Jalen used to be a former corner, converted to safety.
Well, there's a reason he
I
got
think-
converted to safety.
But I'm saying
He
though,
can't
for the
cover
slot,
anybody.
For the slot, I think it hurts your team by putting a lesser safety out there to move him up in the slot.
Oh, can I just touch on something real quick? And I don't want to divert too much off of what you're talking about, but you're talking about the slot. For all of these freaking morons who thought that Paul Turner was going to be the goddamn savior of this team, okay? Paul Turner was on the field for 40% of their offensive snaps and didn't have a single fucking target.
Stinks.
Why? Because he wasn't open.
'Cause he's not
So
good
all
enough.
these people that watched Paul Turner play against the 3s and 4s in the preseason and couldn't understand why he didn't make the team, and we sat here last week and we told you that if he was good enough to play in the NFL, he would have either made the Eagles or another team would have plucked him off the Eagles practice squad. He could not get open. He couldn't get off jams when he was in the slot, and he couldn't run past the corner when he was on the outside. He flat out stinks.
I didn't even notice.
That's
he was
what
on the field.
everybody said. Paul, he catches everything. He catches everything against third and fourth stringers, but you ain't getting open against a starting defensive back unless you're maybe going against the Eagles. You're not getting open against a starting defensive back running a 4.8 40. Like,
And here's the thing. When
Big guys beat up on small guys.
Yeah, and yeah,
Is that his 40 time?
But that's your point, Tommy.
Close
big,
to it.
big guys. Who was having a phenomenal game on Monday night? DGB. And what happened? They started to roll coverage his way, which should have left Jordan Matthews,
It did till he
Bryce
got hurt.
Treggs, and Paul Turner with a lot more room to roam. And then all of a sudden, Matthews gets hurt.
Well, that was the game.
And they basically stopped paying attention to Treggs and Turner because you don't have to
You don't
cover
have
them.
to, but that's the
You have
point.
to cover
When Jordan
them.
Matthews went down, it was game over. But guess what?
Because there's no depth.
We've been crushing that, and it's valid. It's completely valid. Everything we've been crushing. The other side of it that you could argue, and I say from the beginning, listen, the best team might not necessarily win the Super Bowl. It's the one that's the healthiest. or the
Right.
closest, right? Look at the teams that are successful right now,
Yeah.
and look at the teams that aren't. And you look around, and I can point you out teams that are healthy. Seattle, healthy. Carolina wasn't healthy for a long time. You know, they had injuries all across the board, right? So you look through. Green Bay, not healthy, right? Dallas, healthy. Yeah, you just go around. New England, healthy. So,
Well,
I mean,
prime example, you look at that.
you got to keep New England out of all the
Yeah,
conversations
but-
because they'll be good with me and you.
Yeah.
Just
But
slinging it
you,
around.
You look at that Oakland-Carolina game on Sunday. You think Oakland's going to go in there and blow them out. All of a sudden, Derek Carr hurts his hand.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're going
Different game.
3-point game up until he comes back, basically.
Different game. And it just shows you, like, nobody around the league can get away with injuries or suspensions like this. You know, the Cowboys got away because their injuries and their suspensions came on the defensive side of the football. It did not affect their offensive side of the football. And that's why they're able to do what they do. But that also is credit to Jason Garrett got lucky this year. I'm going to tell you why he got lucky, because he was forced to run the football like they did 2 years ago. Okay, now Tony was there. They get a little cuter, and that's when the interceptions happen. They put pressure on their defense. This year, they stuck to their game plan, what they do, and that's run the football. And that's beat you up and get a lead on you. But my point is,
Wait, what'd they do? They ran the football?
but they're built
That's
to
a
do
novel.
that.
That's a novel idea.
But Michael, that's the point, though. You know, his son built this offensive line out. And they spent resources, first-round picks on these guys. So they put.
Aren't they all first-round picks?
I think they are.
Yeah.
Actually.
No, Collins isn't.
well, Collins,
Well,
they
no,
got
Col-
as an
well,
undrafted.
He
Collins,
would have been.
would have been.
Would have been,
Yeah.
but not.
But he said if he didn't go in the first 3 rounds, he wasn't signing with anybody.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Monster.
Cowboys called his bluff, though.
And I said, joking around for the show, when Doug Free's your worst, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, when he's your worst
It's a problem. Well, it's a problem for everybody else.
You know, but that's my point, though. Like, they might have holes defensively, but offensively, they're healthy as a horse. You know, and they spent resources there and to build that offensive line out. You know, since Andy was here, and you talk about Trey Thomas, John Runyon, and the resources that Andy put in the offensive line, when have you seen, besides the Lane Johnson pick, and Andy bringing over Jason Peters. When have you seen us put resources really in the offensive line? You can say Brooks this year is the first one.
That's the first one.
And then Johnson. But I think
like I said, Johnson was a pick.
Okay.
Johnson was a pick.
I'm looking
and
at
Brooks
it like
was a good signing.
Like this year was just they did themselves a disservice by going 3-0 kind of. And I'm going to say that because
we're pissed. Like,
yeah.
We expect them
No.
Playoffs,
Yeah.
Playoffs?
Broad Street.
But they weren't supposed to be that good, obviously. And I think that this year, with the new regime, with Howie, I know he's not new, but working with Doug now, they went up and they got the quarterback. They got the most important piece, and I think that they kind of get a pass just for that. And now they have to start building. But they got our hopes up by going 3-0, so we're all expecting, and Carson Wentz is playing lights out, and we look great. We're blowing out the Steelers at home, so now we're all we're a good team. We're a good team. We can compete, but the Packers game just solidified the fact for me that we are far away and we are missing a lot of pieces, and this team is just not ready yet.
Well, the injuries like we talked about hurt this football team, and Jules
suspension.
Nicky Jules is chiming in, and he says guys who usually cover well, who can't cover well, usually tackle well. Guys who can't tackle well usually cover well. All pros, only all pros do both. Watkins can't do neither. Take Jenkins out of the slot and pair him up with McLeod, like we were saying, and the same situation. To let them play in their normal spots and let them do what they do. When you start moving guys into stuff they're not comfortable doing, I don't care if Malcolm Jenkins played corner in college or his first year, second year. I don't care about that. What does he do now? What's he been an all-pro at? Right?
Yeah.
And once you start moving guys out of their comfortability and what they do well, that's when you run into problems.
Well, that's when you start playing roulette on the offensive line and you move Alan Barber from left guard to right tackle. You got Wisniewski slotted in at left guard. Then Brooks gets some mystery illness 3 hours before the game, and you got to start Samalo at right. At right guard.
Mm-hmm. Hence why you throw the ball more.
Kelsey still sucks.
I would get him into a groove by running
That's the one
more.
bright spot. I think Siamalu came in there on short notice and played really well.
But that's the thing, though. That actually goes back to what I said about Vitae a few weeks ago. Instead of throwing the ball against Washington and basically having Kerrigan eat Vitae for lunch, they should have ran behind Vitae. What they did with Samalo was they said, okay, well, we got Samalo and Barber on the right side of the line. We're going to run right some more. And they were grinding up yardage.
Barber was killing dudes.
They were grinding up yardage on the right side, and then they went away from it. So, Tommy, my answer, which was lack of running game.
Yeah, and I don't think in a game like that, in the circumstances, different games call for different things. And I think that game, to me, felt out of hand early. That you were going to have to play catch-up in that game. And 18 times running the ball in a game like that, I'm fine with, because look at your time in possession. Look at the amount of plays you ran as a team. And then a lot of your plays come down the stretch when you're already behind and the game's over. So 18 runs to me, I thought it was pretty balanced for the most part early on. But when you started getting behind, and like you said, okay, yeah, you ran the ball 5 of the possessions to start the third. But guess what? You're not going to run the ball 10 times for a touchdown. So you don't understand? Like, a pass is going to come. But that's where you got to point the finger at your rookie quarterback, and he can't get free passes anymore. And now he's got to progress from that. He can't get worse. He can't digress. He's got to progress. The last 5 games of the season, we need to see Carson Wentz get better at things that he hasn't been good at yet. That's what we need to see as a fan base. Because our hopes and dreams live and die by Carson Wentz. And we need to know that quickly.
Yeah, but
real quick.
Are you sour on him?
No, I'm sour on the town around him.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't think, if he played with Dallas, it's a sling city.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not even a sling city. But, listen,
I think they're
built. The West
right
Coast offense is built to throw the football, guys, okay? It's built to throw the football. Let's not be stupid about what it is. Now, he's got to run his offense. And at this point, like Mike said, half a deck, I might even say he's got 2 cards in that deck. Really? Look at that deck on Monday night. Sproles with a fractured rib, no Ryan Matthews. He deactivates the former number 1 pick, which I completely disagree with, and we can get into that later on. But, who's out there? Bryce Treggs? Stop it.
Yeah, but that's why I agree with
I
running the
don't
ball
make-
because it was working. And why
90%
strive?
of the league runs a 4.3, so I don't get excited over 40 times.
Why why strive away from what was working? You know what I mean? You're throwing the kid out there. He's dropping back 35 times with no weapons around him and a makeshift offensive line. You're setting him up to fail.
Well,
why
no,
you do?
'cause-
Help him out a little bit. Get the run going. If it was working, why strive away from it? I understand. I understand.
God
there's
damn it,
such-
how do you more do you want them to get it going? They get it going. This ain't effing Madden,
Well,
boys. You can't just run it 10 times. They're going to adjust. They made their adjustment. He sailed the goddamn throw. There's no way in hell that I'm putting turnovers on coaches. I can't do that.
I didn't know. That was a bad
No,
throw.
he's doing it. I know him, and I know his thought on this, so that's why I'm getting heated.
It was a bad throw.
It was a bad throw, but I'm circling back to this guy because we're going to look at each other.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but I told
It's actually good that
Damn
they
it!
stink right now because look at us.
Here's the
Yeah, I mean, we're a mess.
Let him lose.
We're a mess.
It's the last time I'm optimistic. I did it last week. I'm never doing it again.
It's like cathartic.
Yo, they're losing every week from you. Your predictions the rest of the year.
No, but it pisses me off because if you're going to throw the ball and you're down 4, make a safer throw. The kid has thrown 8 interceptions.
We talk about no
I know.
balls. We talk about
I get
this.
it. Shut
And
up
then-
for a second.
And then the next week,
let me make
next
my
week
point.
he's got too big of a
It's
sack.
not that he's got too big of a sack. It's just you got to be a little smart sometimes. When the kid's got 8 interceptions on the year and 6 of them are on the same throw, because and maybe the kid's just amped up, but that deep middle, he sails them. And most of the time it's intended for the tight end, and maybe he just has too much trust in Ertz, and he's going to put it up, and Ertz is going to go get it. But Tommy and I
don't
were
know why the hell he would
I
think
don't know.
that.
Tommy and I were
Baby shit.
talking about it before you guys walked in. They did go back to that pattern later in the game, but they ran it with Treggs. And Wentz threw a fastball, and it was a pea coming out of his hand. Problem is, Treggs was too fast, and he wound up putting it on Treggs' back shoulder. Treggs got both hands on the ball. You get both hands on the ball, you got to catch it.
You're an NFL wide receiver.
You're an NFL wide. Well, maybe not. And we are talking about Bryce Treggs.
You're playing an
But-
NFL game. Catch the ball.
Carson's got to hit him on the numbers.
Okay, guys, let's talk about this. So they ran 58 plays in that football game, the Eagles. All right, the 67 by the Packers. Time possession 35 minutes to 24. So got beat up there. Okay, rushing first downs, they had 7. They had 7
hold that thought for a
rushing
second.
first downs.
Go back to that for a second. Time of possession, 35, 35 and a half to 24 and a half, something like that. That's the thing. It's an 11-minute advantage in time of possession. 10 out of that 11-minute advantage happened in the fourth quarter because Green Bay just up and down the field. And here's the thing. You complete passes, the clock runs. You run the ball, the clock runs. You come back to the Birds, you throw incomplete passes, the clock stops. That's why you got to run the ball.
Dude, there's only 12 incomplete passes. The guy was 24 for 36. He took 4 of them dropbacks. Hold on. 4 of them dropbacks are sacks, okay?
And 3 of them were runs.
So I can't. You got 7 penalties, which hurts you.
Yeah.
You outrushed them, so it's not like you didn't outrush them. You still rushed for 81 yards. But again, different games call for different things. Like this was a game that I'm like, I agree with you. With a young quarterback, you want to establish the run, and I thought they did a good job of it. But at some point in the game, it's on. And we were talking about it Sunday. At some point in the game, I got to look at Carson Wentz and say, you got to make a play, right? You like sometimes on drives,
He did make plays though. I'm sorry, he did.
Well,
With his feet too.
Let me
because
ask-
he can't throw to
my point is,
anyone.
My point is, how do you put that on? How do you put that turnover on the coach? That turnover's got to go on the kid. He's the one who threw the ball.
It's on the kid. I just think the coach has to make a better call.
I don't agree because that's the listen. When you go back and look at that overhead, that's the decision he went with. He had one-on-ones other areas. That's the throw he went to. He went to a double coverage throw with a safety over top. That's a mental mistake.
Yeah,
that's not on a coach. Listen. If you guys, I'm not sour on this kid at all. I'm calling it how it is. And right now, he gets a little lockish, okay? And at times, he doesn't get rid of the ball quick enough. Okay, there's hesitations. Unlike Rodgers, you see boom, 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 out. Now, I don't expect them to be Rodgers fastballs, but he did a good job early on in the year himself of having that internal clock, boom, boom, out, right?
Lane Johnson had a lot of effect.
A lot of effect, exactly. Dan. A lot of effect because you're talking about a kid, right, who's now less weapons, losing a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle, and that puts him in a bad spot. I think a little bit of it is pressing because he wants to do well, and just because he's a rookie, he don't feel like he deserves a free pass. I like the kid, so if I'm not souring him at all, but I can't take away his bad and to our point because
you can't look
because
at it
of the
through
play
rose-colored
call. Because
glasses.
if you go look back at the play call, like I said, there was one-on-one opportunities for him to throw the football. That was his choice on that play.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's option 1, 2, or 3, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to always throw to option 1. That's what good quarterbacks do. You see safety over top, probably their best secondary guy. I'm going to go away from him. I'm not going to go to ha-ha. There's no laughs tonight. Another.
But he went to ha-ha. That was the problem.
He went
feel
right.
like-
Well, let me ask you guys something, Dan. I guess Dan and Tom, this would be specifically for you guys because I know, Sean, you were in the building. Watching the game at home, did it seem that the officiating was very one-sided to the Packers?
Oh, no doubt, bro.
Yeah.
No
Now,
doubt.
But-
now here's the telling statistic, though. Penalties, both teams had 7. Packers were 7 for 51 yards. Eagles were 7 for 42.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Felt
you,
different.
it did feel different. I'm telling you, being there in the stadium, I was convinced that every freaking call for the first 3 quarters went to the Packers. And then all of a sudden, in like the late third, early fourth quarter, the referees were kind of like, "Wow, this has been a really one-sided game. We need to start calling some shit for the Eagles." Because it was literally like, oh, there's a flag. I bet you this is on bet you this is on us. Sure enough, neutral zone infraction. And somebody's got to explain this freaking rule to me.
Yeah.
Because if you go into the neutral zone and you don't make contact and you come back
And you come back, yeah.
and they move, as long as
got back.
as long as you're back before they move, that's supposed to be a false start, right?
They got to change the rules.
Well, guess
somehow.
what? Boys, they were off the field on third down, that last drive. Okay, that's not a personal foul anywhere. Any
Anywhere.
stinking where, that's a bad call. They're off the field. They finally get off the field on third down, and maybe there's a shot in that football
Well,
game.
that's because it was Rodgers.
Once you saw that personal flag, you knew that game was over. And guess what? To some of their guys' credit, there is guys still battling out there. But one guy wanted to keep his mouth shut, at Jason Peters. Don't talk about battling for your teammates and for a season when you clearly quit on a football team last year. I don't need to see
and he's in the process of doing it again.
Yeah,
this
I don't
year.
need to see you on your high horse, talking about we don't quit. Blah, blah, blah. Shut your mouth, okay? Just shut up. Because last year you quit on an entire staff, your teammates, and everybody around you.
Yeah,
so
I
I don't play into that game. But listen, this segment, everything we're talking about, Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make him yours. Find him on the web, gibsonmayer.com. Tell him Tom and Mike aim in the PM saying he'll take care of you. Yeah, I'm not here to guarantee what take care of is.
Well, now
be
that
taken care of.
now that we're getting into December, may give you.
I had to move away from the freaking screen, guys. Sorry, I felt like nobody puts baby in a corner.
May give you 10% off any tax services finished up by the end of February. Just saying, they're good like that.
Just putting it out there.
Putting it out there.
So we all said what was the most frustrating thing.
Hold on.
As we circled, I've still not mentioned out of the 4 what my
I
one is.
got to give you one more for the viewing audience, if you will.
Yeah.
Third down conversion. Packers 10 of 14, 71%. Eagles 5 of 11, 45%. Fourth down, Packers 1 for 1, Birds 0 for 1. That's 11 out of 15 conversions the Packers are
Yeah.
they're
You're
staying
71%.
on
What's that
something.
trending? Mike, I guarantee, boys, if we went back and looked at games last year towards the end of the season, halfway on, and we go back and look over the last 3 years of that, we'll see a lot of that. A lot of them numbers jumping out at you. And that's what worries me. Damn,
That's the time of It's a time of possession.
Yeah, but But again, on the defense side of football, you brought a new coordinator. Yeah, it was better. But overall, that same core of players that we love and we paid a lot of money to aren't getting it done. And I'm going to look one right in the face. Connor Barwin, I almost wanted him to be hurt. I hate to say it because he's a great guy. But I almost wanted him to be hurt because I wanted Marcus Smith and Vinny Carey to play in their natural spots. Because Connor Barwin's a 3-4 guy trying to convert to a 4-3. Not every player in the league can convert. Some guys it's easy, like Fletcher, 3-4, 4-3. He's a moose knuck no matter how you want to slice it. But a guy like Connor Barwin, you can see a struggle in the 4-3. Especially the wide 9. He doesn't have the speed to come off on the wide 9, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
You need speed rushers. Marcus Smith, Vinny Carey. I need to see them two play. Every time I see any one of them on the field, they make plays. But they're never on the field. And it's been going on for years. It started with Vinny Carey. Now Marcus Smith, you see him in flashes, he makes a play, you don't see him anymore.
Well, here,
wait, what?
To your point,
Sorry,
Tommy,
guys, I'm ranting. Just talk.
Nah,
You guys talk.
you're good.
I'm so upset. There's so much.
To your point, Connor Barwin, starting defensive end, 1 tackle.
Grow up.
Michael Kendricks, starting outside linebacker,
Oh, yeah.
1 tackle. Now, luckily, it was a tackle for a loss.
At least he didn't get hurt.
But it was 1 tackle. Now, going the other way, Vinny Curry, 4 tackles and an assist, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit. Hey,
How many
about
snaps?
that? I don't have a snap count on this.
Okay.
It's just
Probably 5.
yeah. He's 5 for 5. He makes plays. I mean, it's. You got your usual suspects. You got your Jordan Hicks with 8 tackles, Malcolm Jenkins 7 tackles.
Mike, best player on the defense all
Yeah.
season, most consistent has been Jordan Hicks.
Nigel,
You agree on that, guys?
Nigel Bradham 7 tackles.
Positive. Like Nigel.
Jalen Watkins 5 tackles. Problem is, most of them were in the secondary.
I was going to say, chase down tackles.
Well, our best corner is a set we talked about it. I don't know if we mentioned it before the show or on the show. Our best corner is a 7th-round draft pick.
I'll tell you what,
Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills, until the 4th quarter when he lost him twice, he did a hell of a job on Jordy Nelson. He was basically man up on Jordy Nelson all night, and there were 2 plays in the 4th quarter. One that I damn sure thought was a push-off. Should have gotten called. But there was one play.
Jordy even laughed.
Yeah,
guys.
he
I don't know if
laughed.
you saw
He knew
that.
it.
Because you guys were at the game, but he laughed. Dan probably saw.
Yeah,
Jordy
so-
laughed
Yeah,
after the push-off.
play,
Like
the play,
he knew,
that, play that he pushed off, and there was one play, I want to say it was maybe 2 plays before that, where the Birds were in a zone, and Jordy just kind of found a soft spot up the seam about 20 yards and just literally sat there with his hands up, and nobody was around him, and right in there. I mean, but other than that, Jalen Mills got a future. I mean,
I think so.
completely agree.
I think so. Sean, I want you guys' assessment on this. I mean, he's big, physical, he's speed, and I like guys who get up in your grill. I mean,
and he's not scared.
No,
What do you think about his potential?
No, I love Jalen Mills. I think without the off-the-field issues at LSU, I think he's a 3rd, 4th-round pick. When the Eagles were picking in like the 5th round, 6th round, I'm like, oh, Jalen Mills is still there. You got to get him. The fact that they got him in the 7th is an absolute steal.
And Smallwood both playing, right?
Yeah, and then I liked Mills in college, and like I said, when they were picking, because I knew he was going to slide because off the field stuff, but like the 5th round, 6th round, I was like, why the hell aren't you drafting this guy? You need a lockdown corner, and they luckily got him in the 7th. And honestly, I had high expectations for the kid. Maybe not as a rookie, but so far as a rookie, he's exceeded my expectations of what I thought I would see him at right now, 11 weeks into the season.
Mike,
when
I
you're
mean-
practicing against
Crumbs.
Jarvis Landry and
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait a minute now.
you're practicing against Jarvis
SEC
Landry and
kids.
Odell Beckham Jr. for half your college career.
Well, it's better than the town he practices against
Oh,
now.
that's what I'm saying. He saw better talent in practice at LSU
Than he does now.
than he does with the Eagles.
He sees Paul Turner every day in practice.
I love
you shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Treg's beat him once.
I love everything about him besides the finger wag. That's the only thing that I have against him. But I love him.
I like the swagger with the finger wag, but I have a problem with when the quarterback throws the ball 20 yards past the receiver that he had nothing to do with.
And he does the finger wag.
Like, bro, that was just a bad pass.
It's almost like he wants to let you know, like, hey, I'm around.
Yes,
You know
just
what I mean? Like,
relax.
I had good coverage.
Relax
Hey.
before you piss off Aaron Rodgers, please. Just relax a little bit.
But no,
He's
I
done
mean,
enough.
look at who he's faced this year.
Yeah.
In his rookie year, he's faced all the big horses in this division. He's seen every one of them.
What 7th round
AB,
pick?
Julio.
What 7th round pick comes into games and is the guy that's primarily on every team's number 1 receiver?
Yeah, and you could look at like him and Dak being late picks and almost make an argument that Jalen Mills is having just as good of a season as Dak is
On the
just
other side of the ball.
just in different spots, right? Obviously, you understand what I'm saying. If you
Yeah.
look at individual
Quarterback
players,
is
Value
obviously the
pick
bigger.
when it's
yeah.
value, yeah.
not as a team and how they're rolling heads.
Well,
But
think about it, though. I
though
mean,
he's gotten better, which is great. You see progression, and that's what we're talking about.
But like you said, I mean, every horse in this division, plus Julio, and if the guy wasn't hurt, he'd be going against A.J. Green this week. And they'd put him out there, and they'd say, go cover him, kid.
Yeah, this defense better
and you know what?
show up Sunday.
I would actually have some degree of confidence that is he going to shut down A.J. Green? No, he's not going to shut him down, but he'd probably do a pretty damn good job.
Look, the Eagles defense better show up this Sunday. No Giovanni Bernard, no A.J. Green. Who's going to run on you? Burkhead?
Yeah.
Jeremy Hill?
Jeremy Hill will probably go for 2.
Tyler,
Yeah, I have
Tyler
no
Eifert?
I have no faith.
Tyler Eifert's a premier tight end in this league, but I mean, like Mike's point earlier, Eagles have shut down tight ends.
Number 2.
Who's Andy Dalton going to complete the ball to? Brandon LaFell? Tyler Boyd?
Boyd.
I mean, Eagles, show the hell up Sunday.
LaFell
let me circle this right back, though.
Exactly.
Hold on. Hold the telephone.
Pump the brakes.
Let me circle this right back. Who the hell is Carson Wentz throwing the football to?
Exactly.
You know what?
True.
This is
that's what I'm saying. I'm not mentioning offense.
No, this isn't even on you. This is on me, too. I do this all the time. You know, I look at our defense side of the football, and I forget our holes on offense a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, we're going to shut them down defensively. And then I'm thinking in my head, well, how the F are we going to score?
Because
that's still a good defense over there. That's still a good defense.
That's exactly.
They're healthy over on the
None
other
of
side
us
the
really said last week, but I was listening to the pregame show, and Ray Didinger was saying, like, the Eagles better win this game. The Green Bay Packers, the way they've been playing on their defensive secondary. And I was just thinking, you know, yeah, their defensive secondary sucks, but our wide receivers are arguably just as bad on the other side.
What's the remedy for a bad secondary?
Yeah.
Shit receivers.
And what I got out of that game was it was a 2-time MVP
versus a rookie
with a gun versus a rookie with a plastic samurai sword. That's what I got out of it.
I love it, Danny.
But I watched that game, and I honestly I was impressed with Wentz. I mean, he had that bad throw.
To a gunfight.
Yeah, he had that one bad interception, but god damn it, does that kid fight?
Dude,
and his rookie year,
when
you
he dove
can't
in,
question his heart.
When he dove into the first touchdown, the first drive, when he dove in the end zone, just threw the ball up, pushed the Packer off him, and started pointing and flexing. I was so amped up for the rest of the game to go the way it went. I was just like, no way.
Dude's getting beat, getting taken down by his face mask. Somehow spins and hurdles out of it, jukes their safety, and runs for a first down.
That was impressive.
Well, guess what? I mean, you look back at Andy years and Donovan, and at the beginning it was very similar with lack of talent. But now Andy's off season, which he did a good job of, is he went and he filled his holes quickly for that football team, and they swapped it, right? 6 and 10, and 10 and 6.
Andy Reid year 1, 5-11.
5-11.
So Doug's already equaled his win total for year 1. Now here's the thing. Now Andy comes back year 2, boom, 11-5.
But in this league, you can do that easily.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's not major holes. There's two sides of the football that have holes in the position. You know, and you look at corner and you look at wide receiver. Right, and you got to fill them holes in some way. We'll talk free agency later on in the show, and we'll give you some names. But
that's depressing.
It is. Yeah, it is. But just to tease it for a second, I'm looking for a guy on the outside. I don't want Alshon Jeffries. Okay, I need a burner. I need somebody who can stretch the field, because if I have somebody like that on the outside of this football team, I feel like Jordan Matthews can walk in the 100. I just think he can. He's built for that. He's built for the slot. He's built to catch balls over the middle, but he has nobody to stretch it, nobody to command a double team. So we'll talk about some names out there that maybe can semi-command a double team.
I got a name.
Christ, we don't have anybody to command one guy.
I think we all have the same
name. Sometimes
maybe we do, maybe we
sometimes
don't.
defense that says we're going to roll out a front seven. We're not even going to put the 4 in the back because it doesn't even matter. They won't catch it.
Actually, Danny, we probably all do have the same name, but I'm going
one.
off of that name because there's another guy I like out there just as much.
You know what? Wentz, one knock I have on him early on, and I love him too, so don't get me wrong with anything. I just trying to call it how I see some things to work on. That delivery is way too long, boys. You know, that's a baseball delivery. That's not a football delivery. You know, baseball, you release, you release from your belly button up. You know, that makes Randall. That's old Randall delivery. Remember Randall's arm. Randall used to really bring it back. You know, look at Rodgers, look at the difference. Get it to the ear, let it go. You know, look at Brady. Everything's body, quick, go. And that's something that, just like when I umpire fast pitch softball at whatever levels, and if it's not a tournament where there's a winner and you can, they call them showcases. You know, coaches come out, blah 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 blah. You know, I'll tell a girl, hey, you're pitching illegal. Don't fix it now, though. You know, fix it later on. You know, fix it at practice. Don't fix it now. And I think that's something Doug is doing well. We're saying, hey, we're not going to address this right now. You know, we're going to slowly work on getting it better as the season goes on, but we're not going to address it right now. It's something we're going to work on in the offseason. There's too much for you to think about already. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to put more on your plate in terms of delivery. But that's something that I think that with Frank Reich and Doug Peterson, if they can't fix that, then both of them have to go, in my opinion. But I think they'll handle that. I think that's something the three of them will get together, and it'll be quicker. I'm not saying it still won't release down there. I just feel like it'll have a quicker release point.
That's the knock I have on them, too.
So that's it. I mean, besides that, the heart, the fight, everything you boys said, I completely agree on. You know, costly turnovers, he's a kid.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
But I also can't sit here and say I'm okay with it either. So you understand there's both sides of it. Like, because I don't want to get into the game where I'm free passing him too much. You know, as the season goes on and as his career goes on, I don't want to be that guy, or because where he was slotted pick wise, where I'm going to say, well, everything he does is golden because it's Carson.
Right, but it's
So
but it's like we talked
got to
about
help the kid out though. Can't be Andrew Luck situation.
right. But we talked about when we were given our record predictions before the season started, and you and I got into it pretty hot because I told you at one point that your rookie head coach is going to cost you at least a game, your rookie quarterback was going to cost you at least a game, and the combination of the two was going to cost you at least a game.
Well, I think
that's what
games were costed elsewhere.
Yeah,
which is
no,
funny,
I
right?
agree. I agree with that, but I think we are seeing that if he doesn't come out and throw 2 picks in the first quarter against the Giants game, even though, and that could be the Doug and Carson game, because Doug could have taken points 3 times in that game,
Yeah,
and maybe it's a different game.
Yeah, I'll still go for it every time.
But yeah, I mean, it's 2 interceptions in the first quarter against the Giants, some questionable decisions here and there. I mean, it's the thing is, and it goes back to the point that you guys were making earlier about, were we spoiled going 3-0 out of the gate, because the stuff that's happening right now is stuff that we expected to happen before the season when, we had Bradford and we were talking 9-7, 8-8. Tommy, I think you were at 10-6 at one point.
I got to eat crow. I really do.
No, I am.
No,
but I'm
I
not
do.
even going there.
I do, but I do because I lied to the fucking people, and that makes me unhappy because I looked at this roster and I looked at the defense side of the football and I got cute. Okay, and that's on me. I got cute. I thought that this defense.
Well, you weren't alone. I said top 5 defense,
and I thought that that's what they were capable of. I know Sean. You were with me. None of us are going to run from it now. I still believe they had the capabilities of, and that's where the finger pointing starts now on who's the culprit. Is it the guys getting paid the big bucks? Is it the guys next to them? Is it the holes in this football team, like losing Ron Brooks, not bringing back Eric Rowe? So there are things that hurt this football team. But I'm not going to run away from my assessment of this roster on where I thought they were as a whole. I thought because the defense was so high that you could put them as a top 10 roster in this league. And guess what? Without the injuries and without some, I expected progress out of certain guys, right? As much as Nelson struggled his rookie year, I expected a jump up, right? I mean, we expected progress. Jordan Matthews, Zach Ertz, we expected growth. We didn't get it. Running backs, we don't have. Darren Sproles is great, but he's not built to carry the ball like that. Ryan Matthews is, but he's always hurt. Wendell Smallwood's a 7th-round draft pick. Kenyon Barner's a guy, right? So, I, as a fan, avoided them holes and crowned them other spots to be good enough to overshadow the holes. But guess what, boys? When you talk about them Andy years, there was Hall of Famers on that football field. And what Hall of Famers can do is overshadow some of them goddamn holes, which we know we had through them stretches of not winning the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. We know we had them. But because of Donovan, because of Westbrook, because of Dalk, because of Trott, and the list goes on that defense, you got away with the holes. But guess what you had, man? I mean, Andy went and did it right in Kansas City. He took the same fucking formula, and he took it to Kansas City, and he proves it works. Where did he go spend a top pick on? Hey, I'm going to go get myself a shutdown corner of Marcus Peters, right? I'm going to go get myself a bookend tackle, right? He went and addressed these issues quickly. There's a reason that they're, now 18-3 over the last 21? There's a reason we can run them out 10 all we want, but the formula for winning from Andy, his perspective was I need great corners.
Yeah, he paid the tackles and the corners.
The corners, that's who he paid.
Well,
and listen, Danny, that was before the time. That was before the past happiness, right, Sean? This is going back. Look at it. He inherited Bobby Taylor
and Troy Vincent.
Listen, when they retired,
Sheldon Brown,
Lito Shepherd. He said that. Listen, both of them were borderline number one.
And then when they
went
down,
both borderline.
Traded for Asante Samuel.
He never went without a corner. Even Nandi, he tried to go and get Nandi. It didn't work, but my point is
but that's hindsight being 2020 because every single person in the NFL
wanted a Nandi.
Thought Nnamdi Asomugha was all that and a bag of
shit.
chips.
His career was done.
Yeah.
We were just a little late, and his career ended a little earlier than expected. He just lost that step. But my point is Andy always addressed his issues. Maybe at the end they didn't work out here, but he went to Kansas City and they worked out real quick. And if Doug's smart and Howie. Idiot.
Stop for 1 second. No, you're good because I want to throw a question out here. If you got Doug and Andy more or less running the exact same offensive scheme between Kansas City and the Eagles,
You throw a little Frank Wright in there.
Okay, but what's the difference? If you're running the same scheme,
The difference is
what is the difference in the results?
The
It's
line-
a lack of what?
all right, I've put
Talent.
A lack of talent.
They
Exactly.
got. About to say they
and
got a line.
And whose fault is that?
Howie's.
Exactly.
And Chips.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, that's the difference. Very straight up. Eagles don't have a line. Kansas City has a great line. Eagles have Paul Turner, coming off the bench. Chiefs got Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
We got Wendell Smallwood and Kenyon Barner. They got Sherkandrick West and Spencer Ware. That's where it is. We have Connor Barwin. They have Justin Houston. Like,
We have Nolan
That's
Carroll.
the way it is. We
They
have
have
Nolan
Marcus
Carroll.
Peters.
They have Marcus Peters. We have.
But Andy's,
Our safeties are good, but I mean they still got Eric Berry. Like they got.
honest to God, though, Andy's still dumb, though, sometimes.
Well, listen. Every team's going to have holes on the football field, though. Every coach is going to make mistakes.
We got Zach Ertz. They got
but
Travis
at
Kelce.
the end of the day, at the end of the day, we can try to criticize that man all we want, but the proof of 18-3 over your last 21, that's the best record in the NFL.
With a win
over that
Sunday,
stretch.
he moves into the top 10 in NFL
History?
Listen,
wins. Yeah.
my point is, what has he always been good at? Talent evaluator, drafts. We can knock his drafts, but he hit on a lot of big time plays.
I swear to
he
God,
hit on a lot of big time players.
I think Andy Reid, honest to God, is like a GM who coaches as a hobby because he loves it.
Yeah,
because he's way better at talent evaluation than he is game day execution.
And this is where Doug and Howie have to work as a team and figure out what their strength is of putting this football team together. Because I'm going to tell you, unless you go and really address in a pass-happy league your corners, you're in trouble.
Why I'm a little more confident going into next year when it comes to scouting and all that.
Yeah.
Joe Douglas.
Okay, they just
That's
brought
a
him in.
guy
Yup.
with the Ravens. He hit on a lot of guys in Baltimore.
He did.
He went to Chicago. I mean, he was only there a little bit.
Well, color ruins your life
But
anyway.
he hit on a lot of guys in Baltimore. And that fact that he's here, he wasn't a part of here during the draft. They hired him after.
Yeah.
So next year will be the first year with him. I think Howie's going to open it up and listen to him. At least he should.
Well, guess what? No, my point is, and sure, that's a great point because you know what? He doesn't necessarily have to completely open up to any of these guys, but if you bring in guys and you surround yourself with smart football people, not only is that going to rub, but you're going to get more picks right, okay? Because when you get overridden in a room and these guys are out scouting, and they're coming back and their assessments are this, and you have a board of guys and you put a good team around you and their assessments are all the same, that's going to help you on draft day.
And even
for
if
him making the right pick,
we
don't trust him.
I was going to say, even if Joe Douglas is the guy who he's going with, that's his go-to guy who's making the picks, these guys hit, who gets the glory for that? The GM, and it's going to be Howie.
Yep.
Nobody's going to be like, well, that 1 year, he was really listening to Joe. No, but it was Howie Roseman. You look back at history, that team was pretty good. Damn, they hit on a lot of guys. Howie Roseman was that general manager. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the credit will go to him, but guess what? I think, and I don't know what it is. You think some of the things that they sit and talk about would have been addressed, like we talk about what Andy did in Kansas City. In terms of the cornerback position. I mean, there was corners in the last couple of drafts, and we just decided not to take them. We've avoided that position draft wise.
Mm-hmm.
Only. Eric Rowe was a second rounder, Mike, third rounder,
second.
That was Chip,
and he's gone, right? That was a Chip guy. So, and that's another guy that was drafted, played 1 year, was drafted under Chip, like we talked about earlier on the show, and Howie got rid of him because it wasn't his guy.
Ego.
That's
what bothers me. I don't think he plays well with others. That's what bothers me about this whole thing.
And now I think he wants.
I just cramped up.
And now I think he's feeling good that Aguilar is now looking like a bust. He's going, that Chip had control that year. I wouldn't have drafted him.
Listen, brother, don't get me started because I don't think that deactivation was any parts of Doug Peterson. That came Howie.
Yep.
Howie.
Guys,
Trust me, man. Trust me. He's got more power in this goddamn organization than Jeffrey Lurie does.
Didn't they have to do it?
And Jeffrey's on every goddamn LLC.
I think that was a worst.
I know. I was the only one who said that they had to do it. I know I was the only one that had to deactivate him.
No, I said that they should have came out and thrown him a deep ball first play of the game.
I understand that point, but
he dropped it. It's over.
I'm trying to look from Nelson Aguilar's standpoint alone.
Yeah, but
I want him to play because I think that he gives us a better opportunity. As shitty as he's been, he's better than the next guy up.
But
right?
do you know what he did that entire game? He sat on the sideline and just thought about how the hell did I end up here? How am I a first-round draft pick not dressing for a guy that was an undrafted rookie that caught 15 passes in the preseason.
Well, hopefully that's very humbling.
So now
to him.
he's sitting there thinking and he's probably running through his head like, I'm done, like my career, like he had too much time to think about it. I think you had to dress him and go to him early to get his confidence back.
I think that they should have deactivated him, but I think that they should have did it early in the week, and I think that Doug should have came out and said, "Look, he needs a mental break. That's it, and that's over. We're over with it." Instead of waiting until Sunday.
He came out. Doug Peterson said yesterday that he's not 100% sure he's going to be active Sunday.
Oh, we got a comment on YouTube, guys. Actually, flipping back to the other side of the ball. Siobhan Wignall says, Jalen Mills needs to start for us. Lord knows our other corners take a beating.
McKelvin starts
every week, don't he?
McKelvin.
It's McKelvin, but then McKelvin always winds up
and they just put Mills in.
Getting the hook.
Yeah.
They put Mills in, and Mills stays in.
Yep.
I'd rather see McKelvin and Mills instead of Mills and Carroll or McKelvin and Carroll.
All right. Anyway, back
to dog shit out front of my house on my lawn.
Back to the Nelson Aguilar thing.
Oh, you can't deactivate him. Go ahead.
I disagree. Just by looking from his standpoint of what he said after that game, after the Seattle game, he was rattled. He clearly was. I think he really did need a break. Me personally, I wouldn't need a break. I would use that as motivation to go out. Maybe he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And maybe Doug saw that, or maybe whoever saw that. And said, "Listen, maybe he does."
The sniveler saw it.
He uses emotional intelligence.
You're teaching a kid how to ride a bike. The kid falls off the bike. The kid's rattled. You don't take the bike home and tell the kid don't get back on it for 2 weeks. You put him back on the bike immediately.
It's
done and done.
Yeah, but
push his ass down the hill.
Exactly.
You better stay on.
You want to learn how to swim? You want to learn how to swim? Jump in the pool.
But if you don't want to jump, I'll toss your ass.
Okay, but it's 2016, and sometimes our generation, there's a bunch of softies in it.
Multiplication of America.
There is.
You guys.
My dad raised me like a 1950 baby, okay? I'm not doing that shit, but anyway.
My man.
I'm dead serious.
I love it. He pulls out the 1950s
No, but
listen.
And when you talk about Aguilar, to both your guys' point, and I understand what you're saying, thinking of him, but seriously, in professional sports where we don't get a lot out of guys, in terms of interviews, and we don't hear a lot, guy put it on the table for us. You know what I mean? Let us know that it was affecting him. Now, when you have 15 jackasses, 15 guys, and 7 to 10 of them are idiots that are asking you questions every day, that wears on you too. Mm-hmm. When you get these idiots talking about drops every goddamn day, and half of these guys never catch a football, don't even know how to catch a football, that wears on you. But to their point, this is a first-round draft pick. This is a guy who's been successful his whole life. There's no point where I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to sit him down. He caught his last ball thrown to him in the last game. Granted, the game was over. Still caught it. I want to build off of that now. All right, let me build off of that Seattle, that last catch, and let me get him back out on the field. And to your point, Dan, he's better than what else we have. And guess what? I need him and my number 2 overall pick to gain some kind of chemistry. I need it.
I completely agree, but it's just the fact of what he said after that game just showed you that last catch that he made didn't matter, that he was still in his own head, and he needed to be separated a little bit. And I don't think that they gave up on him, and I don't think they gave up on him.
So you think sitting there thinking about drops?
I think it's a slice of humble pie. And I think that he's thinking, wow, I should appreciate football better, and I got to do better myself because that's how quick I can lose my job for good.
Well, I'll start with the humble pie with the thing in the strip club, right? And there's the humble pie right there, right?
Stay out the club.
Yeah, nothing happened. You got your NFL career, and you got nothing taken away from it. There's a slice of humble pie. Let me start with it. Let me start in Cleveland. He has a good game. Let me move on to his drops and his inconsistency and say, oh, here's another slice of humble pie. So how many slices of that pie are available is my question.
Well, maybe that was the final piece where he got taken.
We better hope.
Where he got taken out.
Swing it back to pie. Pie season.
That's what I'm saying. Look,
I like pie.
You keep screwing up like this, you're going to sit on the sideline and watch someone who doesn't have nearly the same talent as you take your job away. Because that's how it works in the NFL. We don't show up week to week.
Yeah, but what is he? Is he 12? Is he 12? Is his dad the coach?
Well, that's how they're treating. That's how they're treating him.
He's making $3 million a year. You're paying him to do a job. Let him do his job. And if he's not going to do his job, then just get rid of him. And I understand. It's not that simple. I understand your point, Danny. I'm just the voice of the fan is coming out of him.
I'm trying to look through like his mind.
Well,
maybe.
look into his mind for a second, because everybody that
Ain't
crutches,
nothing there to find.
everybody that crutches the kid every day, that doesn't help his development getting better. My point is, when you talk about young wide receivers, some of them take time. I'm not saying he's going to be anything, but some take time. Some don't just come in and take the league over by storm. This is a kid who was hurt half of his rookie year. Now another new system. That takes time.
Let me ask you guys something.
I don't want to lose time. By him not playing, lose his valuable playing time when we're talking about the future of this football team. Because I need to know. Right? I need to know, Dan, how does he rebound week to week? I need to see it consistently. He does continue to struggle. I want to see it. I don't want him sitting on the pine, because then what I assume could be completely wrong. Right? We could assume, well, the mental game's there, he's going to be back, and then we find out. It takes longer to find out that he's not good enough. And when to Mike's point, play him, let him see if he ain't good enough.
But he didn't do anything.
The matchup was great.
Perfect.
Against the Packers. That would have been the perfect game for him to get a confidence booster.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Wasn't Atlanta secondary not that good either? He didn't do anything against them.
We ran the ball.
He didn't do anything the prior 2 weeks before he got benched.
For 180 yards. So.
Okay, but he didn't.
But when are you going to put that on? When are you going to put some of that on the QB? Because I'll start. When you guys want to start? Because I got about 25 clips in the house right now. I got about 25 clips in the house right now that I'll bring down here, showing you him not finding his open reads. I'll show him.
I'll
put him on the table. We'll eat reads tonight.
I agree, but he is the rookie, and he doesn't feel comfortable throwing to him probably
They're
because
both
he's
goddamn rookies practically.
Because he's dropping it when he gets thrown to.
Well,
so he's
wait.
trying to go to his safety blankets and Jordan Matthews and Zaggart.
I'm having fun with it. And just
Me too. I'm
around.
just trying to argue back.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. What the fuck's in this kid's head? Catch the football. Where's the ball?
Nothing. That's the
Where's
point.
the ball? How hard is that? How are you? Catch it, tuck. Get in there. Let's go.
Let me ask you guys something. The whole situation.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
With Nelson Aguilar, should we be putting the media on blast for this?
Fuck yeah.
Because if he didn't have to deal with this
With
same,
us.
but it's not even us. Because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you look at certain guys that cover this team on a daily basis, okay? And I think personally, I think I'm good with Teron Davenport, friend of the show.
Good guy.
Mark Eckel, friend of the show.
I like that. Keeps it real, not an Eagles fan.
And Jeff McClain. And after those three,
I'm good with McClain.
I think most of the guys that cover this team are
morons.
Fanboys
that
are jealous of the players because that's where they wanted to be.
Elliott Shore Parks is the biggest crumb of all media. I mean, look at some of the guys that are in that locker room covering this football team.
He's a troll. That's just plain
and there's
simple.
a lot of them in that locker room, and they don't want these guys to be successful. They want to crush.
I honestly feel like some of the shit that they write, they have agendas and they're stirring the pot. Whereas if they just, leave it alone for a couple weeks and just let the kid play and see what happens.
But it's their job, and that's what gets.
I was gonna say, but what if you go up to Nelson Aguilar's locker? What are you gonna ask him?
How are the kids? You got a gun in the trunk?
Oh, that's the thing, though.
You got hollow points?
Been to cheerleaders lately?
If he's playing that,
has he texted you at all?
If he's playing that shitty, why do you have to ask him anything? Stay the hell away from his locker. Go to the quarterback. Everybody's darling, and ask the quarterback, how come you're not throwing to him? Is he not open, or do you just not have confidence?
Oh, I got proof he's open.
Put the quarterback.
I've seen him open too.
There's proof that he's open. That's what drives us crazy, I think, because you see the burst, you see the ability to get separation, unlike other guys on this roster at a young age, right? And you're thinking to yourself, he's got tools, but.
And then when he does get open, he drops it.
But then he
targets him and he drops it.
But then you see him go up and get a ball, and you're like, okay, right? And you're starting to think in your head, progress. Next ball, off the ladders. You know what I mean? So this is what we've been dealing with, boys. But this segment, or continued Eagles talk.
May I?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Because I got one too.
All right. BMW of Atlantic City
how are you?
has challenged its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, Lisa certified pre-owned Elite 2016 going on 2017 BMW 325i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City. Easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 of the Parkway, or visit them online at bmwofatlanticcity.com.
Boom. Also, sports outlet. 20% off. He's telling them we got boys from HD Radio sent you. They'll take care of you. Frankie in there.
Christmas shopping season.
Right
Get
in
in there.
Glendora, New Jersey. They got all kinds of team gear, everything, gloves, bat, and they got everything. Sports Outlet, Glendora, New Jersey.
Got a Wentz jersey in there.
They do. They do. And he'll take care of you, Frankie. Tell him we sent you.
Except that he's a Dallas fan, which means he's carrying Dak.
No, Frank's not a Dallas fan.
Oh, who's the Cowboys fan that works there then? Because they got a whole lot of Cowboys.
Well, they
gear
do
up in
because
there.
they said it sells. Because of all the
cockroaches.
Yeah, the cockroaches crawl in there.
I got
leave the money on the cash register.
I got to tell him I need a Wentz jersey for my son. I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, I'll get you.
Got to
You
go
got
right to
him.
him.
Hey, you know where you can? You know what? If you don't call in, which you can find it right on the website, sportsoutletinc.com. Go on there, check them out. Tons of stuff, and tax season right around the corner too. So, you know who our certified public accountant is, Gibson Mayer LLC. Make them yours. Find them on the web, gibsonmayer.com. Again, we're talking 10% off. We're talking percentages all over the board right now. There's no other company around the area that's offering percentages down the board. Scanzano Sports, tell them. We'll give you a cut too. Everybody's cutting prices.
They'll give you 4 rounds of hitting for the price of 3.
Scanzano Sports, tell them I sent you. I'll do the training too.
Tell John you want a commitment.
Yeah, I won't even charge John. I'll just go in there for the sake of the kid. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about now.
We gonna put scans on blast now too.
Nah, we gotta book a private session in there with Aguilar. Him and the sports psychologist.
Well, you know what though?
We'll just fire balls out the pitching machine.
Let's keep it 100 for the second, as the kids like to say.
Kids,
It's not just him.
No.
I mean, it's not. And I'll tell you what. I will be a cocky bastard, and I think I said this last week. You put that jugs machine on the 50-yard line, you give me a pair of gloves, and you lay me at the 30, I will put $100 on the field that I will catch more balls than any wide receiver on that team.
Bro, I don't drop.
Because I got good hands.
Yeah.
You put that jugs up to me, these ain't golf hands. We're catching,
Right.
we're bringing, and we're not dropping the ball. But guess what? This game's fast, man, and there's no excuse for any, the blunders and all that. But guess what? We talk about in baseball how contagious things are hitting, good or bad, right? Slumps. Then other guys follow with slumps. One guy starts hitting, the rest of the team starts hitting. We see it all the time. Same thing carries over to other sports. So when you talk about drops and your wide receivers that came back are essentially for the core the same ones you had the year before, right? Well, how do you get and the first things you're hearing day one when you step in the facility is, what have you done to work on the drops as a wide receiver core? Man, I mean, that starts early. That talk of that, it stays in heads, and it can, and it's hard to block it out.
Well, that's what I
right?
don't know.
And I think that's been carrying over. And until, I guess, you revamp it, it's going to be the continued conversation from the media asking the players the same damn questions.
Well, I don't know if you heard last week because when they were harping on Aguilar.
No, call him whatever the hell you want.
But they asked Jordan Matthews. They said, "Is it hard to play wide receiver in this city?" And he said, "Hands down, it's probably the hardest city to be a receiver in."
Well, he's never played
Part of me
anywhere
was
else.
kind of.
What would he
Part
know?
of me was kind of like, "You punk ass bitch," but then another part of me was like,
We're tough. Dude, listen, I mean, the stuff out there is tough.
"Maybe we should drop the questions."
You talk about players that don't even go on social media because they don't want to say it.
Yeah, they
Justin
shouldn't-
Aguilar don't have a Twitter anymore.
No,
And
he
it's
He
a
shouldn't have
good
a
thing.
Twitter. He shouldn't listen
And
to
it's a
Sports
good
Talk
thing
Radio.
because
He
after the
shouldn't-
Seattle game, trade Aguilar was trending.
Well, guess what, Sean? You know what? The only thing that when guys struggle, and even if they don't, you focus in on that roster, on your guys in that locker room, what you need to do, and worry about the outside stuff in the offseason. And that's a young thing, right? And what did he do to fix that issue? He took care of it. No more Twitter. No more Facebook. He's staying off. And I think that's the smartest thing the kid can do.
Yeah.
And I know we're turning a lot of Nelson, but Nelson's on the block in this conversation too because he's another guy who's not a Howie guy in that draft last year. Seen a lot of them go. Who's the next?
Well, that's what I said earlier. Part of me is kind of looking at this. When I heard Doug Peterson say yesterday that he's not 100% sure Aguilar will be active this week, what the hell did you look at Monday to say I can afford to not have this guy dress again? Not to mention the Bengals secondary is better than the Packers.
Is he saying that just to make him earn it in practice?
Probably.
But
He's got to play this
But
week.
all last week he said he had a great week of practice and had decided to make him inactive at 5 o'clock.
Again,
Well, and I'm
Many
not,
situations where
that came from up top.
Yeah.
where Howie and Doug have not been on the same page.
No question. And Dan, Sean, Mike, every great organization.
Name one coach that's been on the same page as Howie.
None. None.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's time to look at.
Listen,
At
you
some
can look
point,
at Chip
if
Kelly.
you have a problem with everybody,
Maybe you're
maybe
the
you're the
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said
oh,
that's exactly what I
Dan,
said.
why? Why did? I mean, as much as we ran Chip out of here, why was Chip begging for control? Because he didn't want these. I'll take them. He didn't want.
You already had a bag.
That's fine. I'm not finished this bag. I'll just dump them on in. If you're handing out, babe, bring it over. Right?
I'm offering to them because they don't have any.
And they said no.
No, go then get your own.
I am, but you're not. You're giving them away.
No, I'm not.
So you're giving the fish
I'm
away.
not giving them away.
Oh,
I'm
you're the
sharing.
Howie move.
I'm sharing.
Howie.
Tom's pushing for full control of the fish.
You want fish? You want fish?
Stop
I got
throwing
your,
them.
I got your fish.
Yeah. Pick
I
them
will
all
say
up.
this though, he called them all.
I did.
He did. But yeah, but you know what? I put him on the numbers.
The first one I didn't. It went somewhere. We'll probably have something crawling.
It's on the table.
Oh, did it bounce off?
Yeah. Because I hit you in the numbers and it bounced
you did.
off.
You did. It's a wrap. Probably in my belly.
Story of the season.
So, I mean, I don't know. I got to start somewhere. Like, you look at the Cleveland Browns. Where are you going to start? You're going to start at the players on the field? Or you're going to start up top?
Well, they just knew everybody. Up
knew
top.
everybody.
And they still suck.
But guess what? Consistency,
Well, they
right?
hired the New York Mets guy.
Right. They hired
What are we
Moneyball.
doing?
Yeah.
But my point is, guys, is that when we talk about Doug and 11 games into his career, Carson 11 games into his career, and a lot of young players still on this football team, it takes time. The errors, the things that not went our way. All I kept thinking about today was the Dallas game, the first kickoff. Lucky Whitehead coughs it up and lands right back in his chest. Balls the other night, landing the guy's chest, pops out, he catches it again. Nothing. So stuff starts not going your way, and it becomes a trickle. And you start feeling that, I see the season going this way, similar to the other three. But, Chip didn't work out, but I believe that you have to give Doug Peters, man, I need to know how much control down the road he has in player personnel decisions. I need to know, we talk about Bill Parcells always talking about, hey, if I'm going to cook the meal, I want to shop for my own groceries. Well, I need Howie as a part of it. I mean, I need Doug as a part of this. So, to your guys' point, them two have to get along. That's the whole point for this to work. If they disagree on picks or can't meet in the middle on situations or what the needs of this football team is, that's a problem.
Well, what's missing, though? We talked about this multiple times back in January when they had their coaching search, and then when they settled on Doug, what did they say they were going to do? They were going to bring in a personnel guy. And you and I were all over it. We thought it was going to be Jaws.
We did, yeah.
And what happened? They never brought in the personnel guy, which basically means you got a direct line from Howie to Doug. They need the personnel guy for two reasons. They need the personnel guy, number one, to keep Howie on the freaking up and up, because Howie, for as well as he makes some of these deals, he's not a great talent evaluator. And he then needs to have that experience with Doug where he's got to tell Doug, listen, fuck what Howie's saying. You do things your way, but if you need help, you come to me.
But that's exactly what I didn't say it yet. I planned on saying it, but it's been in my head, and I completely forgot about it. And then when you said that, it clicked.
It's that second level thing.
Howie Roseman would be the perfect assistant GM. He's a cap guy. He can handle all the trades and stuff, but you need a football evaluator to be the soul. I mean, not the soul, but the main decision maker.
I got one. You want to get cute with it? I want a guy who played the game.
Brian Dawkins.
I'm going Brian Dawkins. And I'm moving.
I think that is what he's getting groomed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but he's going to be the freaking goddamn assistant, or he's going to be the head of player personnel.
But you think Brian Dawkins is going to play Howie shit in the front office?
Well, that's my point. I want a guy that doesn't need to play football.
He's going to show him that doggone.
But I'm not saying it's going to work or anything like that, because they know. But I just would rather have a guy who played and can evaluate talent more than a guy who hasn't. I think you have to.
It's like Allen Iverson has been begging the Sixers to put him in the front office.
Yeah. Well, one, he needs a job right now. He waits till he's 55 to get paid.
Listen to this, fellas. As if we fucking rich get richer. Cowboys. Viking coach Mike Zimmer having emergency eye surgery tonight.
Oh.
Coaching status for Thursday uncertain.
No, that's great. We want the Vikings to lose.
I understand that, but it's the Cowboys.
I don't give a shit. Roll job.
Which means the
job.
Which means the Cowboys catch another break.
No, I want the Cowboys to win again.
They can clinch.
Will
this
you
week,
boys
though.
trust me? Would a goddamn people out there trust me for 1 second on something?
Wait, hold on. Before you go there, though.
Yeah.
Vikings have contingency plan in place if Mike Zimmer is unable to coach versus
Andy Reid?
Dallas. Now, our boy,
Yeah.
Pat Shermer.
He's back. He'll go win it.
Pat
North
takes
Turner's
the
going
read.
to come back.
Win it for Pat North Turner.
Pat
North's
takes-
back. North's back.
North's back.
Watch. Pat will screw us and get a win.
Boyer came with him. North and Boyer came back. But no, we want Dallas to roll them. Beat them up. We need that pick. We got lack of talent, boys.
We're looking at Mike Williams right now with that pick.
I'll listen.
Wishful thinking.
Let me promise you something. Let them keep on winning right now. Let it all
Let them
be
finish
smooth
15-1.
sailing. Because I promise you this, and I put it out today, and I'll continue to say it. That football team will not win a playoff game. They will not win a playoff game.
I completely agree.
That defense is not good enough when you go up levels. Watch it. Who's covering who? Morris Claiborne's hurt. Barry Church is hurt. Orlando Scanner pops mollies. I mean, who the hell's covering who?
They won the past 4 games without a defensive turnover. That was like the longest streak in.
They haven't played anybody.
I get that, but I don't know. I just try to convince
Like when it
myself
gets
that
to
it's
the
not going to
playoffs-
happen.
Forget the offense. Look at just the defense.
I know, yeah.
That's all. It's hard to separate too because the offense is so freaking
I
dominant.
know.
But look at that defense. Sean Lee's is a hit away.
I don't think they beat Seattle.
Nope.
I don't think they beat Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan would light that defense up.
Yeah, have a good time with Julio. Who's matching up with him? Orlando?
If they're playing decent
Right,
ball
shut
now.
the fuck down,
playing
Bill.
decent ball now. The Saints.
Morris Claiborne will hold Julio to a catch.
The Saints, though, for me,
He's a good football team too.
They might win that game 50-40.
right, but the thing is, it depends on where you play it. Because if you put the Saints...
Well, the Cowboys are in a dome too, though.
I understand that, but for whatever reason, the Saints, their home road splits are just
terrible, yeah.
ridiculous.
The worst.
I mean, they may very well be the best team in the NFL at home and one of the bottom 3 on the road.
It's like us.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, they might even be worse.
I don't think they're going to make it now with that loss, but the Panthers, I think that's the team that's set up would beat the Cowboys.
The only reason I don't think they will is I don't think they're good enough on the defense side of football. I'm looking at teams that can do both. But I'm looking at teams that can score points, right? In my assessment on who can beat the Cowboys. Seattle, they can score.
Yeah.
When they need to. Russell Wilson scored when he take out last week. They lost 10
And they had Earl Thomas was missing.
And that's a big loss. You talk about healthy teams. If Seattle's healthy and ready to go, I don't care where they're playing that football game. You want to put them on turf in Dallas, that's even better because now that defense is faster. So that's defense I think that shuts them down. But Dallas, that offensive line has beaten up that front 4 before. So did they do it again? That's the question. You look at.
Is that our NFC Championship game?
I think right now.
I don't think Dallas goes. I think they lose in the divisional round.
It's going to depend who
Who's
they
in.
who they draw. Yeah, who they draw in the first
Dude,
round.
they might play the Giants. The Giants can go beat them.
But if
Giants stink too.
If a team like the Buccaneers,
Yeah, they're the
squeaks
worst
in,
8-3 team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they stink, but they can beat them. They already did. So my point is, the way this league shapes up, I almost think long term that this start by the Cowboys hurts their long term growth. I think it does because it's all roses, babe. You're going to hit a wall at some point. At least our kids are hitting walls right now and get it out of the way. When's that wall hit? Is it hitting the divisional round? Is it hitting the championship game? Sure as hell ain't hitting the Super Bowl because it's already hit before that. So when does that wall hit for you guys?
All right. So let me ask you a question. Let's say they're playing a divisional game. And you know where I'm going with this. Let's say they're down 28-7 at half or something like that. And they just can't. They just can't get anything going. Do they go to the bullpen?
No shot.
Do they go to the bullpen? Do they get the big right-hander up?
Jerry Jones, yes. Steven Jones, hell no.
He might flip the buffet table.
They pull Dak at halftime.
Jerry might put himself in.
They pull Dak at halftime. Romo comes back, wins the game, carries him to a Super Bowl, and retires.
I would almost rather that happen than Dak win.
Right.
I'd rather
That's why I love you.
I'd rather just die, I think.
But either or. Can we have that curse come back
Yeah.
for the game? We can use that one.
I'd rather just see how tall the Walt Whitman really is.
Man, you got some issues.
It's just funny.
I love you.
But when I look at the higher competition when it comes, that's when I'm going to really test that defense.
That's what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. You can't knock them. They're having a
No,
great year right now.
No.
But they haven't played nobody.
Where are the big boys? Because, listen, they might not face the big boys until they play some of them. If they do get to the Super Bowl, they're going to play a big boy.
I can't wait. Next year, the Eagles will have
What are the
cake
What are the
schedule.
big boys? I don't want to defend the Cowboys. I really don't. But what are the big boys? We beat the Falcons. Worse teams have beat the Seahawks.
That's the point.
And then
Are they really a big boy? Are
Yeah,
they
but
really
then
a big
who's-
boy?
but then who
Are
in
you
the NFC
really
is gonna
scared
beat the-
When you play the
I'm
Dallas Cowboys,
looking
are
at-
you scared?
no, because we were in that game and we should have won that game.
They're
But
not a juggernaut.
I know, but I'm saying no one in the NFC.
Do they?
is.
No,
Nobody
I'm
in the
saying
league is,
They
Dan.
have
Who
a
in the
shot.
league is?
Yeah,
They
I
have a
guess
shot.
not.
Listen,
But right now, when it comes to playoff time, I'm looking at a rookie running back, rookie quarterback, and you're telling me they face Seattle. That's what I keep going back to because I really think that's who's the team that's going to beat them is the Seahawks.
me too.
Russell Wilson or Dak. I'm taking Dak. I'm taking
Russell,
Russ.
yeah.
That defense, I'm 100% taking.
Seattle.
Yeah, that Jimmy Graham, Thomas Rawls is going to be healthy by then, hopefully. Like that's
If I'm Jason
danger.
Garrett, I'm saying
I'm taking
look
a
at
team
this
that's
wall.
What I'm telling
I'm
you right
taking
now,
it. I'm taking a team that's been there.
I agree. And let me tell you something else, Dan. The ease your wariness right now when it comes to the Cowboys and all of our wariness is that not only who have they beaten, but you talk about us being in the game with them, other teams being in the football game with them. They're not a juggernaut. You look at the Giants, 8-3, worst 8-3 team in the history of football. Right?
Buffalo took them to the limit.
But my point is that
They should have lost to the Steelers.
are they a juggernaut? When you said no, I'm not scared to play them. No team is. They're not a juggernaut. They're just on a good stretch right now, which at some point it's going to hit a little
is
bit of wall.
falling in line right
Yes.
now. Perfect.
Like you talk about, they're not creating turnovers and still winning football games, right? At some point,
That balances out.
a team that can cover like Seattle is going to say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to 7 in the box you. I'm going to man up on the outside and see if you can beat me. And then if he does that, then let's have a bigger conversation. But right now, who he is right now, I don't think he's beating Seattle. I don't think he's – listen.
Who, Dak?
I don't think Dak's that good.
I'm not even talking about Dak.
No, we're just talking Cowboys.
I'm talking about that line and that back,
I know.
that running back.
I know, but at some point –
But you're talking about guys like Bennett, Wagner, Earl Thomas is going to fill. Chance is going to Zeke's not going to run over that defense. They're not going to run all over that defense.
I mean, he'll get his stuff because, Dan, to your point, that offensive line is filthy. But look, I'm looking at the
Dak
future.
will have to win you a game against Seattle.
The future of that football team is going to lie at who's behind the helm.
Especially in the playoffs.
Right? Are you guys got this? The future of that football team lies in one spot. Who's under center?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, has he played well? Yeah, but I'm not. Listen, if you tell me I'm like sold on this guy, I'm not completely sold on him yet.
No.
The
Still
body
think
work
Wentz is better.
The body of work has to continue.
Look, there's literally one quarterback.
I'm not trying to knock the guy. He's played well, but
One quarterback that I could name off the top of my head that won a Super Bowl who wasn't the focal point of the team. Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
That's it. Every other Super Bowl winner is long, going as far back as I can remember. Even if it was a defensive-minded team, much like Seattle, Denver last year, whatever, you still had Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch. You still had Peyton Manning. I mean, when in New Orleans, when it was the 49ers against the Ravens, and the Ravens won, it was Ray Lewis's last
Joe
Oh,
game ever,
Flacco.
but you still had Flacco.
Also playoff quarterback.
Versus
he
Kaepernick.
played great in the playoffs.
It's there comes a point where no matter how
And you saw the difference from Flacco to Kaepernick.
right, and no matter how you get to the dance, when you get to the dance, your quarterback's got to step up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just how it is.
well, I almost lost my train of thought on that one because it's spot on. And I'll put it on the table right now too, and I'll make it clear. I will quit ever doing sports radio again if the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl this year. That's how effing confident I am that there's no shot in hell. I'll sell it all. You guys can all have it. It's
Ryan-
all on record.
Ryan Brodo,
It's on
best
record.
of.
It's on record. It's on record. I think he already has it from earlier on, but it's on record. Maybe you can do 2 of them. Do 2 clips.
You may
It's fine.
have to.
But my point, on record, that I'll quit. I'm done. I'm done at all if the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year because I don't think there's any chance. Any chance. Listen, I got to look at how well-rounded a football team you are. To Mike's point, will your quarterback make plays in the Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, everything's rolling, so right now you say, yeah, he probably can. But when's the wall hit? Because, God damn it, that wall needs to hit. I say it every week. Here's the week. Here's the week. But guess what? They might go 15-1 that week. They get a week off. Smell. Come out a little flat. Boom. Wild card team takes them out. That's what we're talking about, Dan. I'm going to put a lot of freaking money on whoever plays in the first round. I'm backing the truck up. It'll be Tampa, too. They'll roll Tampa by 40. Oh. The spread would have been beat by the first 5 minutes of the game.
No, you know what? Here's what would happen.
I'm trying to ease my own, because I'm as worried as you are. So I try to spit bullshit, and hopefully it makes me feel better.
Here's what would happen: is they would play Tampa, and Jameis, Mike Evans, and Doug Martin would just go balls to the wall. There'd be no defense played whatsoever,
None.
and Tampa would win the game 51-45.
Oh, I would love that.
Something like that.
I would love them losing to Tampa.
Or knowing the Cowboys' luck, though, they'll play Tampa, and then Mike Evans will stub his toe walking onto the field.
Yeah, stub his toe, kneeling. Thank God for a publicist, right?
I was wrong. You're a jackass, what you are.
Oh, my goodness. Ryan Brodo chiming in. Holy shit, you guys are going to have 2 best ofs.
Yeah,
I like it.
There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on in our assessment. But that's where I lie when we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Circle back. I'm starting up front. We talk about where's the head of player personnel at? There isn't one. That's a problem. Right, where's the structure of your company, your organization? Hey, Jeffrey, how are you? Okay, stop prancing the wife around. It's time to start winning football games. Where's that gold standard that you love to talk about your first time on the goddamn mic to start training camps or no OTAs off? Where's that Jeffrey Lurie? Because I'm looking for that guy. Because this Jeffrey Lurie's been a little hidden. Has he not?
Yeah.
Has this Jeffrey Lurie been a little goddamn hidden recently? Damn it, at least the Phillies are getting it right, bringing it out in the public. The guy stepping forward. But the point is, it's going to start there, right? Can we get ahead of player personnel? Can it be somebody who's played the game, who can scout talent, right? Can we have good communication from Howie on down? And then at that point is when we start getting the players in the positions we need, like we talk about, cornerback, bookend tackles, stuff that Andy did right away and everywhere he goes. If we can do that kind of stuff, then our evaluation on Doug and Carson moving forward can start. Like that clock can start in our evaluation on if these guys are the future or if they're just guys. Does that make sense a little bit?
Why can we judge Carson and not judge Doug right now?
No, we can judge Doug right now, but we don't even judge Carson that much. Like we don't judge. They
both got a pass.
They both get a free pass. Like we might say something. Mike might say something about Doug. I don't totally disagree with it.
I don't know.
But
if
we're
Doug
not
gets a pass like he does.
God damn it, he deserves one.
He's a
Dan.
rookie head coach.
Damn it. He's playing with Mike's at a half a deck. Mike's at a half a deck. I go lower than that deck. There might be a card, maybe 2, and Doran Boss found the third one.
I think that's
it. That's the third best stuff. Right at it.
Doran Boss created the third one.
Created the third one.
I think that he's overwhelmed. I think that he's trying to do too much right now. I think that he's trying to manage a game, be in charge of his players, and make all the play calls, and I think it's a little bit too much for him
Why
right
isn't Frank Reich calling that offense?
Yeah, I mean... Maybe he should be.
Let me.
Why would he throw that challenge flag? Makes it. My wife has started watching football 3 years ago when she met me. Okay, and she was like, "Why would he do that if it's only a difference of 2 yards?"
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Why?
Because he thought that we were going to get a challenge.
Because
he didn't think that we were going to lose it.
No. I'll tell you exactly why. It's not even about the play. It's about your defense getting gassed. You can't use a timeout. Them 2 yards bring up a 2nd and 10. It's not even about the 2 yards. It's about trying to give that defense that's been on the field a lot a second to breathe. That's exactly why that challenge was thrown. That's exactly why. I guarantee it.
What if you needed it later down the line when
listen, he needed to get his defense off the field.
2 yards.
Listen, he got his defense off the field. After that challenge, that's when the Fletcher Cox personal foul happened. So he did his job by giving his defense a rest. They got off the field.
I don't know about that challenge, though.
God damn it meant nothing. It actually got them off the field if it wasn't for the personal.
In hindsight, it meant nothing.
Oh, Dan, this is why I circle back. The players win. Players got to win.
I'm not I know they got to do their part too, but I just don't agree with that call. I thought it was terrible.
Let me ask you guys something, because I talked to.
I understand, like, when you're thinking about it like that, like, why would you challenge 2 yards? But you got to look at it like.
And then taking the points in the Dallas game.
No,
and
you
then
got to look at big picture. My defense is dead. They're gassed. I need to give them a breather without using a timeout. What would you rather him have? Blow a timeout there? And then we're crushing Andy Reid-ish. We're talking about clock management. We're flipping out because that's what would happen.
Well, and here's
right?
here's
or
they gained 2 yards. So it'd been like, okay, it's still second and
take
long.
the
Stop
yards
them.
out though.
Right,
Take
but
the yards out for a
stop them.
But even
second.
if they lose the challenge, all they've done is burn a timeout, which they were, they probably needed to
we're
take
going
anyway.
to anyway.
Let me ask you guys something.
I think they need to regroup for that defense.
Real quick, because I asked Tom about this earlier. I already know what he's going to say.
We won.
But I think we're all kind of in agreement that it's premature talking about Doug's job right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Premature is an understatement.
Okay,
I mean,
but the question
you haven't even put the semen in yet to talk baby.
the question that was posed to me was,
I love this shit.
if they only go like 7-9, and they goes 0-6 in the division, he doesn't win a division game his first year. Does that give you second thoughts on keeping him next year?
No, because I mean, like to Dan's point, I actually have questioned Doug a lot this year. Like the Giants game, when you're losing, I think you have to take the points,
Right.
Because your team, what has your team showed you? The fact that they can go down and score a touchdown, they haven't all year. You got to take the points there. The Dallas game, the same thing, and then he's just made a couple play calls in certain situations where I'm just like, what the hell are you thinking? But like I told him before the show even started, because we were talking about Doug, I was like, everything he does this year to me though is like a wash.
It's a mulligan.
If he comes out next year and is the exact same guy, I'm going to be calling for his head.
Well, at the beginning of the year, Sean, they were great at adjustments at halftime. At one point they were the best third-quarter team in all of football, which led to a lot of their success. Not so much after that, but that's something you can look back on and say, okay, can you replicate some of that moving forward and get better than that? But let me give you a name, okay? Because it's not how you start. It's how you finish in an organization, okay? And I'm going to go back to Chip because we and everybody in this room, and I'll raise my hand as being guilty. When that guy came in and I heard that guy talk football, from the second I heard him, I said, this guy might be one of the smartest football coaches I've ever heard talk. Just how he talked, big guys beat up small guys. The way he drafts, the way he wanted to draft players. The tempo of his offense that works if you have talent. It'll kick your ass if you got the talent to kick its ass. But in college, he had it. His first year here, he had it. But what happened? This is what I'm trying to explain. The talent went away. And you can blame it on Chip because I'm not. I'm putting that on Howie Roseman. And I'm putting it on Jeffrey Lurie. Deshaun Jackson, and I don't want to go back, but Deshaun Jackson with Jeffrey Lurie. When you're an owner of a company and one of your players is in talks of gang affiliation, the Eagles overreacted to the situation as a whole. They didn't do their due diligence, and they cut him quickly and tried to remove the problem.
But then why did all of them have problems with Chip?
But no, I mean, listen, I'm not even talking about, forget Chip and the problem. I'm talking about just the coach for a second, okay? They didn't win when talent went away. So it wasn't as much as coach. We were all excited. Chip Kelly was the smartest guy ever to coach football, correct? We were in love that first year. Nobody can say we weren't. But the point is that we fell in love with the guy. We crowned him too quickly, and now we're in the opposite. This is the opposite situation where another rookie coach who hasn't lit the world on fire, we don't think's a genius. Do you see the difference, though? When this guy could be successful still. So that's why we have to give it some time because we're quick here, man. I'm quick with everybody. I get it. We want results quickly because we're tired of every team talking processes.
Yeah.
Too many processes going on.
Yeah.
But that's where our pain comes in and our want to win quickly and us tired of hearing about it. That when they went 3-0, to your guys' point, made us want more and expect more.
Expectations changed.
Went up. Now, for me, no, because I thought, I'm not running. I thought it was a 10-6, 11-5 football team. When I saw Carson Wentz play, I said, this kid can play. Mike knows, and I'm not going to run from it. But guess what? Injuries added up, and they didn't get it done. So that's my point. Is we crowned Chip early. He didn't get the job done. Doug's struggling a little bit in his first year, and I just think we need to give it time. And
no, I completely agree. The beginning of the season, what did I say when Carson stepped in? I think they were a 6-10, 7-9 football team. But expectations change, obviously, when you start 3-0, and they should. But
Yeah, Mike was right with you, right? I mean,
yeah,
you were on that.
I'm not running Doug out of town, but me questioning his decision-making on completely just basics of football, like 101 thing, that's just totally different.
But guess what?
I don't think that's stuff that I'm willing to give time to change because you're right, he is a rookie head coach, and we need to give him time because we are too reactionary here. But it doesn't mean that it's the opposite of Chip Kelly. It doesn't mean that Doug. This just this could just be Doug.
But I'm a pedigree guy. You understand? I'm a big fan of the tree. I'm a big fan of the branches and how that trickles down.
You like yourself a little Bill Walsh action.
I understand.
So I respect the tree. Like the guys that come off of these trees are guys that I trust. And most of these guys are successful. If they're not successful coaching, they're successful in the booth. So, because they know football. So that tree's important to me. And this is Andy's own tree essentially. But Doug's been everywhere, and everywhere he's been, it's been successful.
Been around Favre, been around Marino, been around, got coached by Holmgren.
But guess what? When we're sitting at home watching a game and we see a bad call or a bad play call, whatever we see, okay, remember, and not giving him a free pass, but remember, this is the first time for a lot of this stuff. In-game adjustments, play-by-play adjustments. We talk about who are the best hitters in baseball. What a guy pitch-by-pitch adjustments. Same thing in football. What adjustments are you making play-to-play? So there are things that he most likely has to work on. And there's also, you can put some blame on the quarterback, you can put some blame on the head coach, and you can put some blame on all the players around. So that's the problem.
Yeah, no, I agree, but
how do we find the main issue and fix that?
We got to give him time because we just can't just keep on firing everyone, or we're the Browns. So what I'm seeing right now, I don't like some of it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think he can be successful, or you guys?
I don't know.
Are you guys worried?
Oh, I think he can.
I'm a little worried.
I think he can. I think he can.
That's okay. That's fair.
They need somebody between him and Howie.
Yeah. So 1 to 10.
He needs somebody who's played the game, who can think the game, who can be his sounding board, and give him the space between Howie, but also can go up to Howie and be like, we need this, we don't need that, we need this, we don't need that.
And a winner.
I got a couple names for you.
I want winners up top.
But do you think that's why they brought him in,
before you give your names?
Dawkins?
No, Doug, at the same time, to work with Howie because they've had that previous relationship and they've got along, they're buddies, and
I think
they could grow together.
I honestly think the reason that Doug is here, and I've said it before,
you think
was
give him that hat.
No, not at all. I think it's a situation where they brought Doug in because Jeff Lurie. No, there you go. Jeff Lurie was so disenfranchised by the whole Chip Kelly experience.
He wanted the safe blanket. He wanted Andy back.
He wanted the fucking blanket.
Yeah, he did. He's pulling the Linus.
He was 53 angry men.
But I mean, it's a situation where let's just say that it was time for Andy Reid to go when he went. Rather than hiring Chip Kelly from the outside, who from the inside could have succeeded Andy Reid? It would have been Doug Peterson.
But you know what worries me about that whole thing? And nobody has ever really talked about this because it kind of got brushed under the rug because they hired Doug so quick. When they fired Chip, you knew who the first coach was that they reached out for an interview? Kevin Sumlin from Texas A&M,
really?
And he turned down and said, I have no interest in leaving college football. They went straight to a college coach right after Chip. That was the first coach they asked for an interview.
You know why? I'll tell you why.
I know why.
No, because they want the freaking power. I feel like that's the reason. Like they want,
too.
like internally,
and I think that's why they hired
if
Doug.
they go college coach or a guy without a pedigree, that they can't, they don't have to answer to them because everything that happened with Chip, Michael, everything that happened with Chip.
You guys, I'm telling you. In this
Don't you give them a free pass on this?
No, it's not a free pass. It's not a free pass. But you guys are dead wrong. You guys are dead wrong on this one, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, about going to the Sutherland?
Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin.
He coached Manziel.
He wasn't going to be the bullshit Rooney Rule interview. That's why they went to Kevin Sumlin, because they wanted to get their Rooney Rule interview out of the way.
I thought that they did that for Deuce.
Yeah, they interviewed Deuce 3 hours after Chip was fired.
Yeah, but Deuce was already on the inside, and they were bringing him back. If you don't want to deal with the bullshit league stuff with the Rooney Rule, you got to do somebody on the outside.
That's fair enough.
But that's to me, Kevin Sumlin was. We did our Rooney Rule interview, and now we're going to hire who we want to hire.
Well,
I completely agree.
When we said it from day one, we knew it was Dog.
Yeah, well, you did. I actually wanted it to be Pat.
Yeah, I know, you did want it to be Pat. I had no problem with Pat.
I was
either.
actually holding out hope that it was Hugh Jackson.
I wanted Adam Gase.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, ballsy
Coach of the
move.
year this year, by the way.
I like that.
I did.
Adam
Well, guess
Gase.
what? You know what he
But
did?
it's all right.
You know what he did? He went in, and players were pussification of America on that defense side of the football, and the coaches he brought in around him, they're getting stuff out of that defense. I still don't think they make the playoffs. Ryan Tannehill's not good enough.
That's
he's
my.
not
He gets
good
my vote right now though for Coach of the year.
He does. I agree.
Been doing well.
Well, let me.
But-
I want to toss a couple names at you
But
guys.
guess what? What'd they spend the high pick on? I'm sorry. I'll be here all day.
But,
I'll be here all day. Gas mask
So
or not.
we're talking.
Very, very high. Very high pick.
Very high
But
pick.
it said actually they use a high pick.
Word on the street is
Right.
word on the street. Gas
Right.
was high.
Can I just say one more thing
Go
about the yes man thing?
Go ahead.
I agree with Tom. I think that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman do want the power, and I think that's why they hired Doug. No one else was going after Doug. No
I
one.
think that they thought he's gonna. I think they thought the pedigree and he's a good coach and he's a smart football guy. So I'm not taking any of that away from the hire.
It was the safe hire. It was a safe hire.
Yeah,
It is, but it's
saved
also that's the first thing I thought of was here
power.
we got
Power.
Yes,
Power.
this is what they want.
Power.
This is why
Doug
I won't
comes in.
succeed.
Doug comes in. And he knows the air quote foundation here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how it went. So
Because Howie was just sitting on
This-
the other side of the building, and they
I
brought
agree.
him back, and so he basically probably
he
was
was
like,
on the other side of that.
"You're not going to hire someone else
What a
that's going to
clown.
try to take that power away from me again."
Right.
You know, and his little squeaky
Yeah,
voice.
Yeah,
well,
this
that's
whole-
why you
You're not
can't
gonna do that again
like,
to me,
Tom
Jeffrey.
Coughlin,
I'll
like,
release the
stop it.
pictures.
Like, yeah, you can't go hire a big name with him
Yeah.
because that big name's going to want more control.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So,
I did not want Coughlin from the Red. Guy's a fossil.
Yeah, nobody wanted Tom
so the
Coughlin.
two names that I got for you, in terms of either a general manager or a player personnel guy,
All right.
one is, we'll call it from the outside. One has ties to the organization. So let me give you the one from the outside first. One from the outside first is Sterling Sharp. Guy knows his stuff inside and out. He was an all-pro wide receiver / tight end.
What's he doing now, Mike?
He played with Doug in Green Bay, so they're kind of from that same tree.
We love branches.
We do love branches.
Why don't we just
I mean,
go out
he's-
and hire Deion Branch?
Well, he's there we go. He's doing media
Carve us
stuff.
up again.
The other name, the other name, at least for me, is it's a lot more sexy, but it's going to take you a lot to get him.
Who?
Troy Vincent.
Oh yeah, I mean he's the
'Cause,
head.
I mean,
He's the head of the players committee.
Well,
right?
you'd actually have to hire him out of the league office. But I'm telling you right now, 2 years with Troy Vincent as a GM of this team, boom, back to the playoffs. Like deep into the
Do you
playoffs.
think Howie's?
No.
Do you think Jeffrey's going to give it up? It's going to let somebody come in and take it from Howie.
No.
And make Howie the guy. The
But
money guy.
But that's the
And-
thing. It's got to be a former player who's got that that aura. You can't
Dawk.
or Doc.
Manning.
But I have a feeling.
I like Sterling Sharp. I love that. I love that.
I
name.
have a feeling that they want Doc in that role, but Doc
Those
is
wideouts.
maybe a little too far away from that.
Yeah, but I mean,
But here's the
Sterling
thing.
Sharp knows wideouts, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we can write that down.
But you look at
that's going to get handled.
You look at Baltimore with Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome was a perennial All-Pro tight end, and he's done wonders with that team. Then you go look at Cleveland, and they bring in a freaking jabroni like Ray Farmer, whose career high in tackles was 2, and look what happens there.
Listen, where you start up at the top trickles down. So if you have winners at the top of your organization, it's going to trickle down the winners. It's not. Listen, we were doctors tonight. We dissected, but this is something. It's not brain surgery. This is common effing sense. And if you don't realize that if you have winners at the top of your organization in spots, guys who've won, guys who played at a high level, you think the respect down the line isn't given, right? Do you think they don't feel like they have to live up the guys ahead of them? Charlotte Bobcats, whoever the hell they are now, they've always played higher than expectations. You know why? They've never been good. They're a playoff team, whatever, because the GOAT's sitting right in another room. Right now, has he drafted well and done all the right things? No. Small market, tough spot, whatever. My point is they've outplayed their expectations year in and year out because MJ's overlooking. Right? And the same thing goes in the NFL. Look around. Ozzie Newsome. There's tons of names of former players that are running ships and are successful. The only one who didn't play or that are successful in this is the Joneses, but Shit. I mean, Jerry might as well.
Jerry's got more money than God.
Yeah, Jerry might as well off, and Steven might as well off because they grew up around. Well, Steven grew up around it, and Jerry did it his whole life. Yeah. So I mean, that's the only one you can say.
Look at Elway in Denver.
Yeah. I mean, look. They want to get the Super Bowl. They bring Elway in. What does greatness do? Trickles down. It trickles down.
And who
it's
do
like
we
getting
have?
a shower. You always wash your hair first.
And who do we have?
Howie Roseman. What's he want?
Yeah, real fucking great.
Don't even tell him. I'll tell you what he wants. Don't let me do it. I'm not allowed to tonight.
You know,
I'll
I
tell you
heard.
what he wants.
I was actually.
Do it off air.
He was the president of Hillel in college. Just saying.
I was actually dumbfounded. Apparently, Howie wrote. I guess it was Jeffrey. They said he wrote the Eagles. He wrote Jeffrey a letter with his resume attached once a month for almost 2 years straight, just to allow him to come in and show what he could, like with the cap and shit. And then Jeff finally got him in there. Like I was like, I'm about to start writing the Eagles every month.
I was like, don't give me any ideas.
Well, have you ever heard him talk about his picks? Have you ever heard him gush about his players? Yeah. Okay, he's a gusher. All right, and he falls in love with every pick he's ever made. And the point is, if he's here for cap, like Sean said, and that's what his go-to was, and that's what he's good at, then that's where he needs to just be at. Right, and just worry about your job. You're getting paid a lot of money. You don't need to be hands-on on who we're picking here on this football team. And I'm gonna tell you, as long as Howie Roseman is here for the people of Philadelphia, this team will never win a Super Bowl. As long as he's the general manager, air quotes, or whatever his title is right now. As long as he's the head of making picks, we will never win. It's just that, I'm sorry, it's that simple.
Steve EC at section 196 or SEC 19.
Christ. How about a lower handle, babe?
On
they got 3 followers.
on Twitter.
Don't even follow.
17 names, 17 numbers.
None of the above. Actually, he picks their losing record. When is a team loses
I
a
know,
team?
Steve. Good dude.
You know everybody who tweets about the Eagles. You think we got you
What
here
did he
because you're
say?
good looking?
What did he say?
Yeah,
No.
I'm good looking.
Go ahead, toot your horn, brother. That's funny as shit.
Yeah, what did he say? I missed it.
He said he went to the poll question, and he elected not to vote, and he just responded and said, Eagles, like as a whole, their losing record. When is a team loses a team?
I agree.
So
I agree. And where does that go back to?
He's not willing to lay fault at any one piece.
And Mike, but where
to me, that goes back to Howie.
There you go. Because never has finished a roster off. Go back. Sean, can you pull the draft?
Oh, I got it. I got them all.
Let's go to Howie's.
What are we doing? First round draft picks from Howie?
I got every single pick he's made.
Run off some names.
All right, we'll start. You want to say start at 08, 09?
Yeah, start when he started.
All right, we'll say 09. First year.
Andy was gone, right? Oh, no.
No. All right, 2010.
Yeah.
Nah, because who was here? Who was Andy? All right, we'll say 2012.
He didn't leave till 12.
Yeah,
What's
but
his
Andy gave
first
it up. Andy gave it up at a point.
All right, we'll start 2010. Brandon Graham. He hit on.
Would rather have had Earl Thomas.
Could have had Earl Thomas. Second round pick, Nate Allen.
Okay.
Third round pick, Daniel Teo Neasham.
Okay, you got to hit third rounders. Go ahead.
And then we'll go to next year.
Yep.
Danny Watkins, first round pick.
Best of all
Jaquan
time.
Jarrett, second round pick. Curtis Marsh, the third. And I'm just going to go to 2 fourth-round picks we made that year. Casey Matthews and Alex Henry.
None of these players are on this football team.
Nope.
Okay,
The
that's
best player
only
they had
5 years ago.
The best player they had is Jason Kelsey, was taken in the 6th round, and the guy who's now good on the
in the
Patriots,
league.
Deion Lewis, was in the 5th round.
Yep. Okay. They've always been.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
No, you're good.
He's always been a good late
2012, Fletcher Cox, 2nd round, Michael
It's a hit.
Kendricks,
Hit. I
third,
don't know.
2nd round, Vinny
Semi-hit.
Curry,
Yeah.
hit
3rd round, Nick Foles, 4th round, Brandon Boykin, no longer here, 5th round pick, Dennis Kelly, no longer here.
Not a bad draft.
Not a
That's a
bad
good draft.
draft, yeah.
We'll give that one.
2013, Lane Johnson, 1st round,
Hit.
Ertz, 2nd round, Benny Logan in the 3rd round, Matt Barkley in the 4th, Earl Wolf in the 5th, and then who the hell
not a
knows?
bad
Not
draft.
bad. Not terrible.
No,
And then-
not terrible.
And then 2014, which was his last draft, because Chip went in 2015.
Yep.
2014, Marcus Smith in the 1st, Jordan Matthews in the 2nd, Josh Huff in the 3rd, Jalen Watkins in the 4th, and then Taylor Hart, Ed Reynolds, and Bo Allen.
If you really look at that draft as a whole, it's
It's
not that-
it's not a miss as
not
a whole.
yet.
Nah.
Not
As a
yet.
whole.
Close. But like I talked
Bo,
about,
Jordan.
Yeah, does Marcus
But
get a chance to play?
that 2011
Next year,
draft,
probably.
though, might be the worst I've ever seen.
Ever. ever. Now go to Chip. Now go to that Chip last year when he took full control.
Nelson Aguilar in the first
Stinks.
round. Eric Rowe in the
Not
second.
here.
Jordan Hicks, best player on the defense.
I'm just saying, this is Chip's draft, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at Chip's draft compared.
Well, Jordan Hicks, hell of a player.
I mean, besides the Fletcher Cox draft, go ahead.
Ja'Cory Shepard in the 6th.
I got hurt.
Randall Evans in the 6th. And then Brian Mihalik in the 7th.
All right, well, whatever. Them guys didn't pan out.
But he hit on the 3rd round pick, and it remains to be seen what the 2nd and 1st round pick do.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so. All right, you want to give predictions? Bengals?
Yeah,
Eagles?
we got about 10 minutes left, so
Yeah.
maybe get into a little Eagles-Bengals.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's tough, but guess what? You know, if you want to stay glass half full, you run the table, you might control your own destiny. Might. So there's not even a guarantee.
Season goes on. I mean,
Yeah.
the schedule don't stop because we're 5-6.
Guys, all we can ask for is this football team is win us a couple in a row and just just finish the season off where we're playing for something. Even if we lose, this is the kind of year I just want to go out like fighting to the end and not be done after week 12.
And I want to see
week 14 this
and
week.
I want to see Wentz
sling.
take that step.
We've been talking week in, week out about him slinging the rock, right? Sling, sling, sling. Where's Carson Wentz? This might be a tough week, though.
It's going to be a tough
Because this is
week.
a good Bengals defense.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting matchup. Really bad offense.
Vontez Burfict worries me.
Oh, yeah.
He's
You
a
know
mean
he's going to
dude.
get a cheap one in there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we'll probably get a flag.
I mean, here's what's going to
Roughing the passer on Wentz.
right, but this game
Rough
in a
himself.
I mean, honestly, this game in a nutshell, it's going to be the combination of Dalton to Eifert versus Wentz to Ertz. Because
we're
you
gonna
ain't
lose then.
because you ain't going to beat this team on the outside. Smallwood and Sproles versus Jeremy Hill.
And Burkett.
Well, I ain't worried about Rex Burkhart, Berkman, whatever the hell his last name is. And then you got basically Fletcher Cox, Jordan Hicks versus Vontez Burfict. I mean, it's who's going to step up and perform.
Oh, Mike, you know what? I feel like I've been saying it ad nauseum about the front four. You know, who else besides Brandon Graham is going to make a play?
Well, look, without
Right? I mean, look at Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, and Connor Barwin. Look at them right square in the eyes and ask me which one of them has played good football over this stretch.
I have to defend Fletcher Cox.
I was going to say
No. I'm just putting him in the
he's
mix
getting-
because of the numbers. I understand the doubles.
Yeah.
I understand all that. I'm just because of numbers. You look at them three guys, but you say
Because I think Brandon Graham is not having the season he is without Fletcher Cox
No,
on this line.
Never.
Listen, I semi-agree, but I still think Brandon Graham's a good player. And you have to be a
Oh,
good
yeah.
player to have years
But
like this. But no,
When you
look
game
at the
plan
other
for the
two,
Eagles,
though.
you game plan for one guy on that D line.
But sure, you game plan for Brandon Graham.
I
You
don't
have to.
think they do. They were the Green Bay Packers were sliding inside between the center, the guard, and between the guard, the center, and the other guard, sliding towards Fletcher Cox and creating one-on-ones for it was Vinny Curry, the one I saw, Benny Logan, and Connor Barwin.
Yeah, but I mean, they double Brandon at times in that game. You know, I saw them double. Like when I went back and watched it, they slid protection to the right side with Cox and Graham because when they're on the same side, that's why a lot of times Jim Schwartz would try to slide him to the other side and get him away from Fletcher. So they had that kind of thing. But you know, I'm putting Fletcher in. Just because of the numbers, we know he's getting doubled.
Yeah.
But then you have to look at Benny Logan and Connor Barwin and saying, okay, well, Brandon Graham's getting it done one-on-one. Why aren't you two?
Well, Connor
Right?
Barwin,
Why aren't you two?
I said at the beginning of the year, I honestly was half expecting him to be cut. Because I don't think he should honestly – when you got Vinny Curry, Brandon Graham, Marcus Smith,
You always look at me with everybody looks at me.
He shouldn't
with their-
sniff the field.
No, he shouldn't. I love when people say Marcus Smith because everybody looks at me. You know, like the look in people's eyes.
No, I just think
like Dan said it across the room earlier, and he just gave me like one of these, like I said his name, and he didn't want to say like it was a mess. You know what I mean? Like
No.
because we know each other now. You know, we know.
Yeah,
but what gets under each other's skins, how we feel about certain players, and who we're going to defend and not defend. It's funny. I mean, this is why it's fun.
And then I was wrong because I thought that Barwin could probably show you something. I just thought he was a player, but you're right. He does.
The people that were saying, though, that Marcus Smith was been a
You're
bust
not
because
wrong,
his first
man.
2
You're
years.
not wrong, though.
I don't know how you could say that.
But I think he's gone
because
next
he hasn't played.
Yeah, but any stretch you see, he played against the best left tackle in football. Probably the best tackle in all of football, Tyron Smith, for Dallas, right? I mean, when he gets the grips on you, it's game over. And the one shot he had against him, he got a sack on Dak. So, I mean, I don't know. What else do I got to do, Coach?
Oh no, I was talking about borrowing.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying about Mark Smith. What else do I have to do, Coach? I mean, what else do I have to prove? That's the best left tackle in football. Best
You would think Howie'd be running his ass out there all the time.
Well, I think it's getting there. But Connor's one of his guys too. But listen, to your point, Dan, about Connor, I don't disagree with you that thinking he could slide over and be a good 4-3 guy. Not at all. I think when you go wide 9 with him, he's not fast enough to play at a wide 9. But when you look at his physique and his build, you're like, man, this guy can go do any of it. Mm-hmm. He can play 3-4. He can play 4-3. That's what you would think. Uh-huh. So I'm almost not even like mad at the Eagles because you're switching to a 4-3 because it's a better defense in my opinion.
Oh, you can't play a 3-4.
No, and that's why you go to it. And listen, if he's the odd man out, he's making $6 million next year. He's not making a lot of money. He's easily could be dealt, for a pick if it comes down to it because you are paying Vinny Carey money.
Yeah.
I mean, you signed Vinny Carey and Brandon Graham the money. Well, guess what? Every time Vinny Carey and Marcus Smith are on the field, they make plays. We never see it. And that's not a shot at Connor Barwin. And guess what? If they're on the field a lot, maybe they don't make plays. Maybe too much. They don't make it.
Maybe they need to have a better rotation.
Yeah, so we need to figure out, who can play and who can't.
Rodgers did a good job of keeping that rotation in check last week, too.
Bro, he's the best.
Well, that's what
That's why they win. Yeah, we're talking doctors tonight. He's the surgeon.
Well, that's why
he's
part of me.
He's the head of the whole facility.
That's why part of me had a problem with what Peterson said yesterday. I don't know if you guys listened to it,
yeah,
but he basically came out and talked.
So much for moving on to the Bengals, right?
But he basically, well, this goes forward to it.
Now, go ahead.
He basically came out and talked like a coach on a team that had no shot at doing nothing. He came out and was like, "We're just gonna, keep moving forward. We're gonna find out who wants to be here." And I'm like, "What the hell? You playing for jobs for next year? Let's get a playoff berth. You ain't eliminated yet."
Well, hopefully he's just trying to motivate his players for right now and gets them to play better that way.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but I'm with Dan a little bit, but I'm with you too.
Yeah.
But something he does have to work on, guys, and it's something that we hated Andy for, but he was good at. Is Doug needs to work on his press conferences.
I ain't gonna lie, that's one of the reasons why I'm a little down on Doug this year. Like when I listen to him talk, this guy don't have a fucking clue.
He sounds kind of stupid.
When we listened to Chip talk back in the day, okay, it was like reading the Bible. You know what I mean? It was like God's gift of football. So I try not to get into it. My point is, when you talk about Andy was short and quick with things, right? Andy took blame for stuff. Andy didn't put stuff on players. When you talk about the media and the players today, and I think Andy was ahead of the curve with this a lot, and I think it helped his locker room and then win more football games, was that he never singled out his players. Mm-hmm. It was always, I got to do a better job. Us as coaches have to do a better job. And I think if there's one thing Doug can take from Andy, and I think maybe the longer he's here, he'll do it, because Andy didn't do that at the beginning. No. That took time and building a program to start making the comments like that, because you have to. You have to win games to be cute with the media. But I think that that's something that Doug can take from Andy and take blame for things, take responsibility for things. Because at the end of the day, with the modern player and the pussification of America, that keeps the morale of your locker room. Right, boys?
Yeah.
As sad as that is, because you should be able to come out to the media and say what Bruce Arians said. But I told you guys right here, when Bruce rotated his players early on in the year, I sat here and said that football team's going to stink. They're going to stink. Mike, you remember that? Yeah. I don't know if it was on this show or another show, but I said they're going to stink now. You can't come out and roast your guys anymore like that, because he crushed. So, I don't know.
Like how you explained why you thought that he threw the challenge flag, short and simple, quick, and the way that Doug explained it, I was just taken back like a few moments. I was just like, what the hell is he trying to say?
What did he say?
Doug Peterson is the king of saying so much but saying nothing.
Exactly.
Like he'll come out, the guys played well, they drop passes, but you got to catch them, but they're going to, what the hell did you just say, Doug?
Honestly, God, that's just an experience. The one problem that I have with Doug is he's got to stop saying, if you've never played the game at this level, or if you've never put on the uniform. Because I don't give a flying fuck whether I've had a uniform on or not, or whether I've ever played the game at the NFL level. If I'm spending $750 goddamn dollars of my own money every freaking season since 1998 to go watch that football team,
you're playing at that level.
I'm playing at that level, exactly.
And it's not even like he's necessarily wrong. It's just like you don't resort. The fact that you have to resort to that is like, come on, man. You got nothing else to say?
He's basically saying he's basically saying that 5% of football fans Probably even less than 5. Just being generous with 5%. 5% of football fans know what the hell they're talking about. That's exactly what he said.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with him.
I don't disagree with him either, but he doesn't have to beat
But
himself
you
in the
don't
head
you
with
don't
it.
have to resort to that.
Yeah,
You got to be able to think of something better to
but
say.
how often does he say that? Is that a crush he uses constantly, boys?
It's
I'm
been
serious.
the
he
past
just-
couple weeks. It's been
When
well,
they
you know,
losing?
when you've been in the league, when you got to put on a uniform. No,
It's something that
no,
doesn't
you
work
don't.
to a
I
fan.
watch enough football.
Yeah, it's something that
It probably worked in Kansas City,
Listen,
but it won't work here.
I don't-
exactly.
I
We
don't
care
need
too
it.
much,
I don't
and we're too sensitive.
yeah, but that's the problem. I don't need.
I understand
I'm
that, but
different.
when
I'm
you're-
a different breed, boys, because I don't listen to coach talk. I don't listen to press conferences
Because
You
they're
know
all the same
why?
shit.
You know
It's all the
why?
same thing.
You don't get anything from them. So I'm not going to listen to the coach spiel. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I'm just timing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's over.
Yeah.
I can run a bed. You guys can go to bed. It's not a big deal. But
We'll run a bed
you
for
know,
45 minutes.
Mike always talks about Mike's a fan, and I double dip with this. Okay, Mike's a fan of taking off fan hats when you talk about the teams, and that's not
Sometimes you have to.
yeah, and I think a good mix of both is a good feel, right? And so part of that for me is that I try to dive into and not dive into is coach talk, is press conferences. You know what I mean? Unless you're funny or hysterical, I'm not gonna listen to the coach spiel because I got fooled by Chip Kelly with that, and with Andy I listened to him just because we were winning. You know, not because I knew what I was getting when we did lose. So I back in the day, I used to listen thinking I was getting answers, and I never got anything. You know, so my answers for me personally is come like, okay, I'm going to resort to putting myself through it the next day. I'm going to go watch the coach overhead cam, and I'm going to go watch this disaster and assessing myself and not listen to what he says of an assessment because he's just going to give his bullshit. So that's something I've learned is, listen, press conferences, I don't even touch them. You know, you see on Facebook like 2 million angry faces shooting across the screen. It's funny, you know, because no matter what he says isn't going to change jack shit unless he's Rex Ryan. You understand?
Yeah.
Right, Sean? You know, unless that's Rex Ryan giving you a show, he's not changing nothing. He could tell you the greatest comments in the world about football. And that Tuesday morning after that loss, we don't give a fuck. Because you're not healing the wound. You know what I mean? No matter what he says isn't going to heal the wound. So that's why I just don't get into it. I mean, I know it's a little long-winded, but that's the gist of it. No matter what he says, is it going to heal the loss? Hell no. And a lot of fans dive into it too deep, and they get too worked up. And not you, just in general, on what he says. You know, I want to look at, like when we make assessments on the field of his lack of struggles, that's what we should do. We should stay away from the presser as a whole. You know what I mean? If you really want to get a gauge of the football team, stay away from the presser. You know, because it just pisses you off.
It's
you understand?
interesting
Because you get nothing from it. It's a disaster. Everyone, unless you're Popovich.
But see, it's interesting you say that because I try to stay away from the presser. But then what happens is when you start watching things like the Worldwide Leader, or actually, it's not even them so much as it is NFL Network. Because NFL Network, and they're probably, I mean, they got blood on their hands. I ain't even gonna lie about that. Because the NFL Network will take a 45-minute press conference, and they will chop that thing into 1 minute and 15 seconds, and you will hear every questionable quote that comes out of his mouth. I mean, it's tough.
Listen, it's tough to stay away from. No question about it. You know, and sometimes you're just gonna hear what they say, and it is what it is. Like I hear stuff that he says, and I'm just like, whatever anymore. I don't, you know. It, like people do the same thing with Brett Brown. You know,
I do that just because I love his accent.
Yeah, you know, every manager. So unless you put on a show for me, I'm gonna stay away from you. Like at the beginning, Chip was a show. Like I said,
He was.
Like his first draft, he sold you on every player. I mean, there was no question how he described Zach Ertz and how he described, you know, the size of some of the guys he drafted and his decision-making for it, blah, 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 if it was even his draft or not. But, you know, so he sold you. So, you know, right now Doug's not selling us, but we just got to give him more time. It sucks. I wish we didn't have to have this conversation. I wish we didn't have to, you know, I wish it was working on all cylinders right now.
Right.
You know, like we were Dallas, and that's what sucks. But guess what? You know, just because early success doesn't lead to late success. And early failures. If you're a winner, right? He's been around winners his whole life. Carson's won his whole life too, right? So we talk about bringing winners in and building your foundation of guys who've won before. All these guys have won. I don't care if Doug's been on the bench behind Brett Favre. Still won. Still been around a winning locker room. Still knows what it takes to win. So that can we finish the job? Like, we didn't start hot. We started hot in the season, but as a whole, we're not in a great. We're in an average spot at best, right? So can we build the culture up the right way?
And honestly, if you look at this roster and like just strictly look at the roster, you could say to this point in the season they might have overachieved.
I don't disagree with that.
No, I'm right there with
after
you.
the injuries and suspensions, we got hurt. But let's Bengals Eagles predictions, players of the game.
I guess I'll be the one to
Key
start
player.
it off.
Actually, no player of the game. It's been a disaster. No player of the game.
Nelson Aguilar, no.
No players of the game.
No. My
Just
prediction, I'm going to say 2013 Birds.
I'm gonna say I don't know.
He wants to pick the Bengals.
Do it.
I mean, they're really showing me no reason that they can win, especially on the road, even against a bad team like the Bengals. I don't.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
What?
Do
Pick
it.
the Bengals?
Do
Do
it.
it.
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Okay. Never mind.
20,
Gee, it's late. We're getting
Yeah,
punched.
17-14 Eagles. Doing it. Eagles.
Did it.
Gentlemen, this is the epitome of a tire fire and a train wreck coming nose to nose in the middle of bumfuckville, Ohio. So, I just shared this with our friend Mark Eckel as well. Mark Eckel, friend of the show. Gotta love him. Player of the game, Caleb Sturgis. 5 field goals. Birds win 15-10.
Jesus. That sounds like a disaster.
Caleb Sturgis,
gonna be a
5 field goals.
It's going to be a defensive battle.
Holy shnikes.
Oh my God.
He won't even react to my prediction.
If I got to watch.
He just closed his eyes and was like, are you effing kidding
I
me?
tell you what, if I got to sit there and watch Caleb Sturgis kick 5 field goals, I ain't making it through the game.
You'll be drunk anyway. What do you care?
Yeah, I'll take a win any way we can get one.
Just win, baby. Put it in the
Just
column
win.
on the left.
I keep waiting for the offense as a group to have a big one. Because I know they struggle, but guys usually end up getting close to their numbers or having some success. And you hope maybe Cincinnati shut it down a little bit. You hope it's shut down over there. I know everybody's still in the defense for the most part, but offensively it's a train wreck too, like Mike was saying. So maybe they shut it down a little bit. Hopefully you get a team that shut it down, and maybe we can score some points. Maybe we can make some plays. Whoever it is, it's the kids. We need to see Wentz, put balls in windows, right? We want to see Wendell Smallwood, get carries and make plays, break some of these runs that he's getting tackled on. So they're the kind of thing we want to see. Can we have that kind of game? And I'll keep saying we do until we
Until we
Until
don't.
we do
Until
it.
there's no more season left.
I hope our defense responds. That's what I need to see out of the defense side of football.
That's the
response.
wild card. They didn't show up at home, so maybe they'll show up on the road.
I'm not even going to say how I feel about great defenses. I'm not going to go there anymore. But maybe can we respond from getting carved up a little bit by the surgeon and have a good game? So I'm going to go 27-14 Eagles.
Wow, 27 points on the board against that defense?
And I think we get a big play on special teams.
I would say that's aggressive.
And I'm looking for some of these points are created off of turnovers. Turnovers down in their end. I think we create some turnovers from Andy Dalton, and I think that's how we capitalize 27. Carson's not driving 90 yards with this offense and scoring points. So I think 14 of our points come from being in there.
Defense, special teams.
Yeah, getting in their zone, making plays.
Andy Dalton will do that for you.
He will. So
Nobody's talked about that. It's the 2 red rifles going against each other this
about
week.
that. But look at my optimism, dude. I'm a piece of shit.
You know what, though?
I'm the worst.
Here's the thing,
I
though.
really am. I'm sorry.
But you know what?
I just want to hope.
You're not necessarily hoping against hope here because they are an entirely different team without A.J. Green and Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah.
If they have A.J. Green and Gio Bernard, you're not even picking the Eagles. You're picking against them, hoping to flip the luck.
Reverse the
you're
juju.
right.
Yeah, reverse the curse. I mean, it's tough, you know. I mean, you think we have it bad? They just
No, we have it pretty bad.
How does Marvin Lewis still have a job?
that's kind of where I was going. Was like
I think him and Jeff Fisher got like a bet out, like who could keep their job
Oh, my
longer.
God.
that guy's an idiot.
But the thing with Marvin Lewis is, I mean, you look at Cincinnati every year. I think we talk about it is you say, man, that's like a top 5 talent roster in football every year, and they just don't get it done.
Which is
So-
exactly why I think the coach should have. I think they should have promoted within Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, well, maybe,
See you, Marv.
they should have.
You know what? I love Marvin Lewis as a defensive coordinator, but he is horrible as a head coach, and I don't have any idea how long or how he has kept that job as long as he
He's
has.
going to put his defensive coordinating ass right next to Lovie Smith.
Well, listen.
Coaching a college football team.
It's been another freaking blast. Hopefully next week we get a win. We have something better to talk about. We thank Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public account. Make them yours. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. They sponsor every show every Wednesday. BMW Atlantic City, our studio sponsor, BMWAtlanticCity.com. Sports Outlet Inc.com. SkansanoSports.com. For Tom Arnone, Michael Mataraki, Nightman Dan, Sean Redden. It's been Tom,
Mike
AM,
in the PM.
only on HUDRadio.com. Thank you all for listening. Stay tuned. Friday morning, AIM Sports Showcase, Philly Fan Radio. Been a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.